that affect the Wanjiku. And they'll be looking at things like garbage collection. For a long time, there's been issues with garbage collection in Mombasa, what residents say they need controlled. And so they'll be looking at that when they go to the ballot. There is issue of perennial water shortages here in Mombasa. A number of leaders, both from Azimio and Kenya Kwanza and other coalitions, have expressed that they will be able to address that. They will be able to do desalination of the Indian Ocean water and provide clean water for the residents. So they'll be looking at that as well. And if we look at the all of the coast region, the 6 counties that includes Mombasa, Kilifi, Kwale, Taita Taveta, Tana River, and Lamu, there is a number of issues that cut across. And we have seen that, for instance, the historical land injustices, they'll be looking at that, the blue economy, the tourism, health, and those are things that they will be hoping who convinced them better. For instance, the land injustices, who will be able to address that better? The blue economy, considering that Mombasa relies on blue economy, they rely on tourism sector as an income provider. So the voters will be also considering that. I believe that will be lingering in their minds as they head to the election. Back to Mombasa County, there is the debate of the port issue debate. And we've seen that in most these political rallies that have been going on, we've seen both coalitions, and that is Azimio and Kenya Kwanza, have been chest thumping that they will be able to return the services back to Mombasa from the Naivasha dry port back to Mombasa port. And a number of stakeholders that are intertwined with the port issues say that the transfer of a section of services from Mombasa to Naivasha greatly affected the economy of Mombasa, because a number of companies had to shift base and relocate to Nairobi, or others relocating to Naivasha. And they say as a result, many people lost jobs, and they have approximated that to about 7,000 people. And so the electorates will be looking at who convinced them better at the county level and at the national level, and that will also be a key of consideration. And Linda, there is also the issue of governors that are leaving office that have been able to serve for 2 terms, and some have recommended certain individuals that they say, or they have told voters that they will be best for them. For instance, here in Mombasa, we've seen the current governor, Hassan Omar, has proposed the current Vita MP, Abdul Swamad Sharif Nasir, as the best person to succeed him. And a number of electorates feel that those are kind of projects, what they call projects, in quotes, that they feel they're being imposed. And that is not the only case here in the coastal region. Even our neighboring county, Kwale County, the current governor, Salim Vuria, has also proposed his deputy, Fatma Achani, vying on UDAT to succeed him. Similarly, Kilifi County, Amason Kingi, the current governor, under his PAR party, has also proposed George Kithi, who is vying for the governor under the same party of PAR. And so we'll be looking at, all the voters will be looking at all that and considering who to vote for and what to consider. And all those issues will be lingering on their minds as they go to the ballot tomorrow.
Well articulated there, Goren. I would want to understand some more on the question of Mombasa County as well as the larger coastal region, especially at a point where they spoke hugely on getting a regional party and, most importantly speaking, the same tone, so that at least they are able to address these questions of marginalization and the numerous troubles that bedevil them, as you have rightfully mentioned. What is the situation like, moving forward? Is there a likelihood that we're going to experience that, peaceful coexistence of the people of the region of that is the coastal region, and most importantly, focusing on Mombasa County in one of the gubernatorial races that is being watched, hugely in comparison to what is playing out across the country. Of course, Kiambu one, the Nairobi one, and this one in particular. You mentioned the faces of Abdul Swamad as well as Hassan Omar. Abdul Swamad appeared like, he would probably garner this, but again, a bit of a twist, especially coming in, courtesy of the Sonko factor and so much more. what is likely to play out? I am almost certain that you can almost tell us what, is the scenario, not to us, of course, a poll or to give us the numbers directly, but what does the situation look like for that is Mombasa County, and generally the question of peace, that is for the coastal region?
Thank you very much, Linda. On the factor of governorship, we've seen the Sonko factor, as you've mentioned. The former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko had showed interest in vying for the top seat here in Mombasa, and his exit from the race has also played and will play a vital role when it comes to electorates deciding who to vote, because Sonko then came back and decided to support a Kenya Kwanza candidate, who is Hassan Omar, who is vying on a UDA ticket. And this last week of campaign, Sonko has been out convincing and going to various constituencies here in Mombasa just to convince voters to vote for Hassan Omar. And so we believe that that might also play a role, considering that those blocks that were considered to be Sonko's stronghold, and that includes Changamwe constituency majorly, some are convinced that they might shift and decide to follow Sonko's recommendation. Others are of the contrary opinion. And so we just wait for tomorrow to see how the numbers or the arithmetics will play out. Both Hassan Omar Sarai has been able to campaign. Abdul Swamad Sharif has also been able to campaign. And Abdul Swamad Sharif of vying on ODM ticket has had a great backup, almost of the All Azimio platform. And we've seen the fact that the current governor, also Hassan Ali, has been able to campaign vigorously for Abdul Swamad. This last week, we've seen current governor Joe going to areas, going to constituencies, going to Likoni, going to Kisauni, and also ensuring that he's campaigning for Abdul Swamad. So both sides, as Joe campaigns for Abdul Swamad and Mike Sonko campaigning for Hassan Omar, we believe that we might experience a tight race when it comes to who will get what. So it's up to the voters to decide at the end of the day who has been able to convince them best. But it will be a tough race. And remember, the gubernatorial seat not only has the two candidates, it has 7 candidates, but the ones that have come out to show that they have a very big base, a big ground base, and yes, that the ones that have actively and intensively campaigned. On the issue of peace, there's been reports by the NCIC that Mombasa might experience a bit of violence in some areas. Currently, during campaigns, we've seen that Nyali constituency, for instance, Kibuni, have experienced a bit of violence during the campaigns. We've seen a group of gangs going into people's different opponents' camps and affecting the campaigns. So that has been controlled. The security officers have spoken and they have said that they have beefed up security in those areas, and in some places the GSU officers have been taken to those areas to ensure that there'll be calmness when it comes to voting. And we've also seen religious leaders have come out. They have spread messages of peace. We've seen peace walks in Mombasa. We've seen a number of peace walks also in constituencies. Last week, civil societies organized this peace walk in Kisauni. And all this is meant to ensure that residents are able to embrace peace, embrace tolerance, even as we head to the elections. Youth have been spoken to because youth are seen to be the key people that are being used by politicians to cause violence. And both religious leaders, civil societies have come together and been able to organize, sensitize the youth on the importance of maintaining peace. And so we hope, coupled with security and the sensitization, we believe that Mombasa County will be a peaceful place to vote.
So much, Pat. We're looking forward to loop you in later, that is into the nitty-gritty details. And of course, on this very moment, I get to introduce the gentlemen that are with me in studio. And perhaps on that very note of Mombasa County, we slowly get into the conversation of 2022 general election. The 9th of August is set. Of course, tomorrow, we're looking forward to see how Kenyans then will brace themselves going out there to elect the next crop of leadership. In studio with me is Dr. David Nyekorach Matsanga, the chairperson of Pan African Forum Limited. It's an honor to have you, Dr. Matsanga. Asante sana.
Thank you very much.
Yes, for your
Yes.
especially articulating the question.
Those were the words
Kenya.
of Nyerere.
Yes.
Tenacity and steadfastness. Yes.
And of course, the spirit of Pan-Africanism.
Oh,
we
yes.
appreciate that. And we also have Dr. Justus Juma, party leader, Justice and Freedom Party. Asante sana for creating time.
Thank you, Linda.
We always call you Mr. President. Aside from what it is that played out,
I still
part and parcel of those was that.
Is a process. It's not an event, just like election.
Right.
And every process counts.
That's true.
Yes.
All right. Right next to Dr. Justus is none other than Mheshimiwa Philip Kisia, governance, leadership and management expert. And of course, it's an honor to have you, Senior. Thank you so much for creating time.
Thank you, Linda.
Yes, I keep telling you, you've been here long enough. And therefore, if we're to speak about the question of Nairobi, you are best positioned to do that. And most importantly, Nairobi carries the entire nation and therefore the national politics. Of course, you articulating this, I am certain that we're going to get the best of submissions. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Dr. Barrack Muluka, Communications Advisor, Strategist. Asante sana, Daktari, for creating time to be here. Equally long enough, speaking of this, reporting on these matters of politics, as well as the general matters, current affairs of the country. And therefore, we understand that you have, massive history that we could relate to what is happening today and, have submissions that could be helpful for us to walk into the future. And therefore, asante sana for creating time. All right, so here we are. And gentlemen, allow us to slowly get into this question of politics. First of all, I hope that my producer then would present the peace treaty that we have set so everybody can sign this. We are getting into an emotive session, I am certain, because, at least people have taken sides. And importantly, there's that general feeling of where, you support, what is going to play out politically. And therefore, I am certain that we're going to have some bit of,
I come in peace.
You come in peace.
Yes.
Oh, we look forward to that.
I come in peace.
Do you?
Because I'm
Dr.
not.
Matsanga,
I'm the only person who is not
the neutral,
a
who's
vote.
not voting, yeah.
I'm neutral.
But are you neutral?
And yes, I'm neutral, but I have friends.
Okay.
I support friends. You see, there is a difference between a friend and just an ally. The guy who studied English
is an ally of who?
No, he studied English.
Okay.
He knows the
He will
difference
tell us the difference between
an ally
and an ally.
friend.
Okay.
Yes, so I am a friend of His Excellency President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta
And
up to the
subscribe
end.
to the Azimio.
Oh yes, when he tells me where to go, I will go. Not that I will jump high beyond what he has told me. I will think first.
Regional politics.
He's my friend. And therefore, as a Pan-African, he has a view for Pan-Africanism, and I want him to finish quickly, hand over quickly to whoever will come.
Is he finishing? Is he going anywhere?
Yes, we are
Someone says that.
we are going to clean up AU. You didn't know. Our offices are...
Dr. Matsanga, hold it. Before we get to the
Yes.
national aspect of this
Yes.
and President Uhuru Kenyatta's reign and whether he exits at all, remember he's the chairperson of Azimio, and therefore we do not know whether then after the election, after him, according as that transition that he says is going to make sure it's peaceful, he will be out of this political space in the country. But, as a Kenyan, we also understand that it is within his rights.
I just want to tell you that I have asked Muruka to, I'm going to ask Muruka to do two forwards for my books of the legacy.
Okay. And
I want his good English. Then the third book will be...
the legacy trend.
Yes.
Whether he has a legacy or not, we'll be looking forward to that.
3 books that I've been writing. The other one will be Kisia.
Okay.
And then the last one, the struggle we have had with my friend here. For a long time, very early in the morning, waking at 4 o'clock.
To articulate and discuss
Yes,
this
since
matter.
1916, we have been together with this gentleman.
1916.
No, 2016.
All right, hold it.
So I will ask Muluka to pin somewhere, sometime in the next 25.
Muluka doesn't seem excited about that, but I hope he will buy into the idea. All right, hold it.
Because I will also pin on his book.
Let's start from the regional aspect. And you know, they say politics is local. I don't know how local it can get.
Linda, we need some rules of engagement.
You can be rest assured we have rules.
The first thing is about timekeeping. The next one is about our decibels.
Dr. Muluka, I am the moderator here. You can be rest assured
that
is
allowed,
in order. That's why we're coming to it.
Matsanga here.
And you are worsening it by coming in with such submission, so that's fine.
I'm to shut up and Dr. Matsanga.
Give them a black hour, the two of them.
We give them a black one and then we focus on
allow Dr. Joe and myself.
We will come to that. We will come to that, gentlemen. We have started pretty early. I said Mary is going to present us with, a peace treaty so that together we can articulate these matters. And remember, it's just one day to the general election. It's actually hours to the general election. Can we maintain that aspect?
But it's good when the moderator shows her hand early in the show.
You can rest assured that this is going to be
please.
managed well.
Proceed,
yes,
please.
This will be managed well, Dr. Muluka. Let's come to you. Politics is regional, is local. They say, I don't know how local it can get. Patronila Goren, speaks of the scenario in Mombasa County. One thing she has not mentioned, and perhaps I'd love for us to look into, is on the question of the Kamba vote and, the question of it being a stronghold of Baba. I do not know whether you view it as the same up until date. You are a sympathizer, or better yet, a member of Azimio One Kenya Alliance. Do you suppose you still hold that kind of support that was once there for Right Honorable Raila Odinga? Because it's about the figures, and especially the Kalonzo factor and Mike Sonko factor. Do you suppose the Kamba constituents then would subscribe more to Kalonzo Musyoka or Mike Sonko, looking at what has played out in the recent past?
Linda, first of all, I think I like your choice of words that I'm a sympathizer. I'm not a sympathizer.
Not a sympathizer. That's why I corrected and said you're a member.
I'm the forefront of the Azimio coalition.
When you get power, please remember us, like you always
I will remember
say.
you from Wednesday.
That's
so. Anyway, let me now.
My grandmother used to say, even in hell, you need your person there.
Yes, correct.
You should use trade that way. They'll tell you.
So when
it
you
burns.
look against to heaven, please remember me. So I was gonna say that when you get to heaven, remember me.
Yes, I promise you'll be in paradise.
When you get to the promised land, please don't forget me.
When finally freedom comes.
So now you see, politics is local. Politics is tribal, at least in this country. Yeah, it's not about ideology. I'm hoping that going into the future that we'll start interrogating ideology and policy. Okay? So when you look at Mombasa County is a strong ODM county to a tune of about 65%. Okay? Now, there's no doubt that my friend Mbuvi, Mike Mbuvi, that he has some following in the coastal region, rather actually in Mombasa. But his following is limited to Changamwe, because that is where you find the Kamba vote concentrated. Now, even if he were to have some effect on the Kamba vote in Changamwe, I doubt whether it would be 100%, because the kingpin of the Kamba is none other than His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka. The other thing is that, he has come in later, and you need to invest time in people. You can't come in late when you come late and expect that people follow you. Thirdly, Mbuvi, unfortunately, and that's my view, he could be seen as a spoiler, he's seen as a foreigner, he's seen probably as somebody who didn't make it. You didn't make it here. So if you didn't make it here, what makes you believe that you can have an impact on us, a positive impact? So I don't see him really adding a lot of value to my very, very good friend, Hassan Omar. And in any event, my friend Hassan Omar, if you look at the figures that we've had, and the figures don't lie, I think he's been trailing. He's been doing about, I think, not more than 15%. So even if he got another maybe 5% through the effort of Mbuvi, I don't see him beating Nasir. Nasir has been there. He's a local boy. He, and these people want their own person, mtu wetu. They, I mean, Sonko is a good guy. He's popular, but his popularity was limited to Nairobi, and having not done very well, I doubt whether people look at him twice.
Well, Dr. Justus, you've been the calm one here, and I know you'd love...
Are you suggesting I was not calm?
Oh, you are.
I am calm.
Okay, Dr. Justus,
Yes,
we come to you, and I am sure that you'd have loved to speak about Justice and Freedom Party.
Right.
I don't know whether you managed to front someone maybe at the coastal region across, the different, counties down there. Yeah. But speaking about the Kamba vote and the question of kingpins and those ones that, really appeal to a certain region, especially on the question of, the support that they command. A little bit of a hot, cold blow, from, of course, Kalonzo Musyoka, the likes of Mike Sonko, who would appear to be, a possible candidate being kingpins of the Kamba region. What do you make of the Ukambani vote? Most importantly, those ones that are constituents that reside at the coastal region of Kenya.
Well, your question is very particular, and allow me to be a bit objective in regards to the season we're in, because it's a time to make our democracy work.
Yeah.
And I just want to remind Kenya that the overwhelming evidence shows that the economic growth is always a prerequisite to for the democracy that a given society practices. And good democracy is good economy. Bad democracy is bad economy. And however much we may be divided, I think where all of us are converging is when all of us need our economy to work. And at that point, I don't know whether there will be any divide when we're having serious recession. It's affecting various corners, those who are in transport, those who are in real estate, even stock market, because the dollar effect on our current shillings, as we're talking right now, is absurd, and it requires very astute leadership and wise, smart thinkers to get us out of this, or else even my friends who are seated here together with me today will be struggling to maintain where we are, because leadership or politics or democracy is a prerequisite to what we are looking for. And to me, I think that defines the nature of leadership I would advise or aspire in any given location. And to that effect, tribe is never a factor. And the caliber of my generation, Dr. Kisia, we are advocating for ideology or issue-driven leadership.
Let's speak reality, Dr. Justus Juma. That yes, tribe, perhaps we would wish for it not to be a factor, but it is a factor in the country. An ethno-majoritarian society is what we have today, right from the time of independence. And we have swum into that, for the better part of our years up until today. And while we all are confident that we are moving from this space, it still is a factor. So how can we speak ideology? How can we speak a better future? How can we speak, greater manifestos without looking into this factor?
Linda, that is where citizens may actually be differing from various political outfits. I was telling my brother Barrack Muluka one day when we were seated facing the Great Lake in an hotel, and we were viewing the sun in the horizon going down. And I reminded him that there are possibility that the state may force Kenyans to choose between a fox and a wolf. Who should eat them? And the objective Kenyans, and that is the intelligence that I would advise any aspirant who is smart and who is futuristic not to underlook, because no Kenyan want to be eaten, and no one would want to be forced in a situation where it must be a fox or I must be eaten by so and so. And I think this is where objectivity comes in. And sometimes this narrative of Kenyans are not objective, or Kenyans are not issue-driven, has been drummed using state media or state resources or specific candidates have run with it. And they are trying to make it look that is really the definition of Kenyan voters, which to me, I differ, and I differ in that I have engaged and interacted with fellow Kenyans who, as we're talking right now, look at them in the social media. And we're in a global society, Linda. We're in a society where things are affecting us. And the economic issues that are challenging us are not just left to Kenya alone. They're not Kenyan's issue alone.
Yeah.
They are issues which are global. So however much we may fix ourselves within a box and tend to think that this is how people are thinking. And I think this is why we've had serious voter apathy, even in terms of voter registration. And if that language continues, then you may see that the voter turnout may not be what you're deciding.
And I'm glad that you say if that language continues.
Speaking to the heart of Kenyans and treat them as they are. Right.
I'm glad that you speak of the fact that, if that language continues, that is to tell us that we really are not in the best of state, and therefore comparing reality to what is likely to be, to what would be good for us to have. I think we will coming on that very note just to unpack what it is that Doctor speaks of and perhaps relate that to the situation, but that should be after this break.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories. Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona.
Despite being visually impaired, he is a jack of all trades. It is our quest to find answers on how to take care of children with special needs and those with disability. You do not need to see musical notes to understand music, but rather to have your soul feel the vibe.
Actually, for us to make a wheelchair, we have to take measurements of the user.
After doing my assessment, I get to know the parent. I get to know the heaviness she's carrying.
Disability comes at different stages of life.
How well do you know?
Here in journalism and in media, we tell our reporters that there is no story worth dying for. I would like to remind you, my fellow Kenyan, that there is no politician worth dying for. And indeed, Kenya is bigger than all of us.
Usiyakubalie maumivu ya misuli kukatiza ratiba yako. Kaluma Pain Balm ni dawa ya kusugua iliyotengenezwa kutoka kwa miche maalum ili kutuliza maumivu ya misuli. Kaluma Pain Balm. Shhh. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari. Watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
David Matsanga and Justus Juma, as well as Philip Kisia, and lastly Barrack Muluka, as we speak of what Kenyans are yet to do, that is go out there and vote tomorrow. And so we come to you, Dr. Barrack Muluka, as pertaining to what it is that Justus Juma brings to the fore. That, he paints a beautiful picture of what is supposed to be of the nation, but just looking at it, in Kenyan perspective, the African perspective, a beautiful picture he paints. We say we do not fall short of great leaders, those ones that really can articulate matters the way they are supposed to be articulated. But in relation to where we are today, a little bit too fast to think of such a direction?
Linda, the African is not the child of a lesser God.
Okay.
We are the children of the same God as all the other people, and forget about the Hamitic myths that are part of received orthodoxy that has been passed down to us over millennia. That Justus Juma is spot on when he asks us to deconstruct and reconstruct our reality. Because you raised the question of the reality as painted by Philip Kisia, my neighbor here, that people who are voters are owned by certain individuals, that Mike Mbuvi Sonko owns some individuals in Changamwe, and that Kalonzo Musyoka also owns people, and Raila Odinga owns people, and William Ruto owns people, and Musalia Mudavadi and Raila Odinga, and a whole lot of them. And
Adesau Weke here says, don't forget Lai.
And possibly Lai.
Bishop Lai,
Bishop
yes.
Lai. And therefore we are herded like sheep. And in order to get a certain flock, all you need to do is to get their owner, who is also the shepherd, and he will herd that flock to whatever destination he or she desires. I've heard the gallant lady at the coast talking about issues of marginalization of the coast as opposed to the rest of the upcountry. And students of history like Dr. Matsanga there and Justus Juma and even Philip Kisia here will tell you that the Kenyan coast has been open to the rest of the world for thousands of years. It is recorded in the periplus of the Mediterranean Sea, which all of us read about in primary school, in fact, that the Kenyan coast got opened to the world before the birth of Jesus Christ. And it is the one area that suffers a lot of poverty. The issues that we should be unearthing as thinkers who want to move this country forward are issues that pertain to what has tied this region to poverty so many years later. That this is the region that had encounters in more recent times as 500 years ago. The rest of us, when we talk about an encounter with colonialism, for example, we talk about just about 100 years. The coast of Kenya, when we talk about its encounter with Vasco da Gama, for example, about 500 years ago, that is part of its more recent history. And therefore, we need to disentangle ourselves from this mentality that there are certain ethnic overlords who come and talk to us on national radio in ethnic tongues and tell us that this is how I want you to go, and the following morning or 2 days later, we can actually go with the ethnic overload. We are not going to antither ourselves. We are not going to move forward. We must be asking ourselves, why is it that the coastal region still seems to be smarting under the weight of poverty so many years after independence? Who are these people who are coming around and telling us that tutaenda hivi and that we are going that way? We must decolonize our minds from the fetters of these individuals. You talk about reality, Linda, and I agree with you about reality. That is the reality for the time being. But reality is made. Reality is constructed. We can deconstruct the existing reality and construct a new reality. The media has been part of the conspiracy that this country suffers from. You can see that as long ago as 4 years ago, we created this reality that the race was going to be a two-horse affair between Raila Odinga and William Ruto. And the way you behave with the lenses of the camera, we focused on this, freezing all the other people in the background to the extent that they have not mattered anyway. Today, nobody is talking about David Mwaure Wahiga. He's irrelevant. Wajakoya or Luchiri, my brother, is irrelevant.
And you think that's the making of the media?
Of course.
If you relate that to the events of Saturday, the last hours of campaign, look at what it is that Right Honorable Raila Odinga did, or the Azimio One Kenya Alliance team in Kasarani, and of course, look at what it is that Kenya Kwanza team did at the Nyayo National Stadium. Equate that to what Wahiga Mwaure did in comparison to as well what it is that Luchiri as well did. How would you say that is a making of the media while it is out there for them to report what has played out?
It's just the crown of what you have created over a period of time, and which is now being witnessed. And you cannot use that as the index of the capacity of these people to mobilize us as a country. The media has already mobilized certain myths around these people, created legends out of them. And I speak myself as a journalist in this country. I can challenge anybody who imagines that they are more seasoned as journalists or better trained as journalists in this country. I have been in this practice for 40 years. So I understand what I'm talking about. The media has three roles. There's the role of information, informing us, just giving us information as it is, without clouding it with opinion. Then they have got the role of attempting to comment on issues such as I do, and I've been doing for the past so many years. But the audience must always be cautioned that this is Barrack's opinion. It is not necessarily the truth, because facts are sacred, opinion free. Finally, the media has got an agenda-setting role. And the great Walter Lippmann documented this and argued it out very well. So over the past 4 years, we have created that reality. And that reality we have presented to the Kenyan voter. So when we see David Wahiga Mwaura with a few fellows, and we see Wajakoya, then we see these other fellows there, it is our creation.
Is it our creation? Doctor, before we come to you, let's allow Dr. Matsanga say something small. And that, of course, on the larger aspect of this conversation on the question of the fact that in the past around 5 years, we have witnessed some essence of wind of change across the African continent. We have witnessed, presidents being ousted. We have witnessed, people going to that aspect of, conversations over liberation, a revolution. We have said ourselves that the country is ripe for a revolution based on how things have been moving. Do you suppose then that we're likely to experience the aspect of change, get to levels where Dr. Barrack and Dr. Justus Juma would say we are supposed to be at, again, in comparison to the reality on ground? We get to this moment of election and we think about and reminisce of the things that our forefathers then did. Do you suppose where they are today, they celebrate, they appreciate, the strides we have made across the different parts of Africa?
Thank you very much. It is very difficult at times to challenge Dr. Barrack on some of the theories that he puts forward or he supports. But today, I think I will attempt to, not to challenge, but to give more education. What he was talking about was mercantile capitalism. It arrived here, it segregated us. Some people told us to have a Bible, read a Bible while the land was going. Some of us were told to do some things. That's mercantile capitalism. And indeed, he's right to say we are talking of a period behind 500 years. you have forgotten that the Turks, the Chinese, the Arabs, the Italians, Vasco da Gama is from Portugal, he's a Portuguese. They all tried to come to the East African coast. And this question came from Mombasa, the issue where we are discussing the issue of Mombasa and the Mombasa elections. Now, there is a very big problem here. I'm one of the few people in Africa who does not like to hear about elections when you don't know the meaning of elections. And I think, God willing, if I'm still alive and I have a chance, I would advise Africans to first go to school to study what elections are, because we only go there to make mistakes. We go to vote. If you ask most of the people in Kenya today, they are voting for what? They will tell you democracy. No, election is a process where you know that once you vote, you go home and wait. Have we tried to do some things that will help our elections in Africa so that they are peaceful? I think that is what we should look at today, not to look at a people who had already killed others 1,900 years. Britain was made out of 1,922 years. Today, when Britain comes to lecture to you, an African who has just got independence 69 years, they want you to do the things like in Britain. It's impossible. Africans don't know. There are some Africans in Africa who have not voted, like they think Mobutu is still alive. In Congo, you did the Congo elections yourself, where we are told that 2.5 million people did not vote. Somebody planted there Ebola, and they said the disease has broken out. And these voters didn't vote Kabila. They voted somebody else. So what my brothers are talking about is a concept that goes back many years. But this is a problem now, which is faced by African governments, by Kenyan government, where they find themselves that the manifesto you must present should not look like Captain Lugard's manifesto. And I am going to hit hard on this one. You see, if you look at the manifestos, I looked at my brother's manifesto, Dr. Juma, if he had been allowed, if it was not some mischief of uncoordinated troop movement of some people who have denied him the chance to stand.
He was denied?
And no, it is his right.
Okay.
He's a Kenyan. And he's going to struggle for it.
But there are also rules and regulations.
Yes, let the rules, let the Supreme Court decide the rules.
Okay.
My dear, you can vote tomorrow, but the Supreme Court will decide. We have 14 days window after this. People are telling you that you will go home. You'll go home. Go where? There's still time here. In fact, you are going to be calling us here. This Juma should not tell you a lie. He has got a very long petition of 47 pages.
Is it so?
I've seen it, yes.
He's here. He's going to confirm.
No, I am now telling you.
Right.
He might not tell you.
Okay.
But he is telling you. He has got a petition already. So let me tell you. The Captain, look at the manifesto. Look at the two manifestos. Which one is Captain Lugard's? Captain Lugard said, came to Mombasa, which we are talking about. He created an East African trading company. Did you know that you Kenyans were registered at a company? Did you know? Have you dug your history?
Go back. You can be traded any moment.
Yes, go to London. The books have opened now. And if there's anybody, Muluka can fly with me, I'll pay the ticket. And then he can pay for me.
You do not want to.
No, he will.
Him.
He needs,
yes.
No, Muluka will come.
All right.
Captain Lugard registered Kenya as a trading company.
Is it so, Dr.
Yes.
Muluka? I mean, for
and then from there, there were two countries in Africa that were registered as trading companies. South Africa. Up to today, South Africa is on the Wall Street as a trading company. Kenyans, Jomo Kenyatta, Odinga, and the others who fought for independence went and found out that Kenya was registered as a trading company where the British would get what they want. But they were not going to plant in before they get. They were milking the cow
Before they
feed the cow.
Yeah.
So the manifesto of some of the parties, since today we are not going to be judgmental, I want Kenyans to judge between the two manifestos of Azimio.
Is there time for that? It's tomorrow that they are headed for.
Yes, no, they will judge, but I don't want to. You told us the rules are here that we should not support. Isn't it, Muluka? We agree. Let's now talk academically and intellectually.
But then as we summarize, so
yes, I'm summarizing. The two manifestos, one is for Captain Ruben.
The four.
Yes, one is...
Yes.
And now this is what I was talking about. About
now,
the reality we have created.
Let's come to it. I was coming to support him on the media, but if he's going to turn that, I will attack him on the media.
No, you proceed.
Yes, I was supporting you on the media that a narrative has been formed.
Absolutely.
And I agree on that one. The narrative has been formed. You segment people. And Linda, I have told you, I am one of the few people standing high 6.1 feet here who does not like to see any of the debates ever in this Africa where you segment a presidential candidate. You segmented these guys. You said Mwaura and this man, this bouncer of mine who used to bounce at my nightclub in London, Ojekoya. He was my bouncer.
I mean, he has accepted, he has agreed to that.
Yes, he told you on
that's
this,
fine.
you can bring.
There were valid reasons as to why
you segmented him.
There are valid reasons as to why.
No. Never in democracy should you... Are you the voters to segment these guys and say tier 1, tier 2? No way.
Hold it. Let's allow
and
Dr.
Therefore,
Justus
let me finish my point.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. There is a manifesto of Captain Lugard, which is Kenya Kwanza. It's Captain Lugard.
That does not address the problems of the people.
It says money up to the end. Captain Lugard
is that not what we want?
Excuse me. Did Captain Lugard come here to see how you look like? Captain Lugard came here to look for money.
Hold it.
And then there is a manifesto that says, if we seal the loophole of you stealing our money.
But just how much do we steal?
Wait.
Manifestos,
the money is being stolen. Whether it is which manifesto or a snake of Wachikoya or this. In fact, Wachikoya is the only one who
Dr. Matsanga, fair enough.
He told me something which I will take home to my wife.
We'll be coming to hear what that is.
That is the snake that if you touch the money, an economic crime, let's bring the newsman.
All right, Dr. Justus Juma.
Yes, Linda, I would actually, one person would really desire to see our education curriculum transformed and reviewed to capture proper thinking or the actual aspiration of this geographical location. Because actually colonization is inheriting different geographical locations thinking and imposing into another geographical location. In that through copy pasting, one may think they are going to solve the solutions, which as we stand today has happened to be contrary, because journalism in this country is, to me, quite below the par.
Gentlemen, are you in a mission to attack?
No, I'm just...
no, we are not attacking.
Let me just address
very bad.
He just mentioned that they should set agenda. It's very true. Because I saw even during the national debate, because I was desiring to see a media platform which truly understand Kenya and has the vision of Kenya at heart. But I saw a media that was focusing on incidentals instead of fundamentals. And the fundamental issues which needs to come out. Because through debate, that's the way, a platform through which the citizens are engaging the aspirants, so that there are accountability mechanisms. And what are these accountability standards? Even that journalists should understand the nation they're representing. And if you see journalism that, as we talk today, actually our media houses have been captured by or owned by private individuals who are using them as their marketplace for purposes of their own convenience, and have kicked out merit And
have they? We all subscribe to the code of ethics, conducts that.
There you go. There you go. We've seen glaring mistakes. I'm even a victim, where a media can broadcast that Justus Juma registered as a voter or as an aspirant with wrong ID.
No, he said fraudulently.
Actually fraudulent.
Yes, that's the word they
That's
use.
defamation, without even seeking.
I hope you took action.
Well, there you go. Without even without even calling me to verify, because proper journalism, you research, isn't it?
Indeed.
And when you run with it, yet when we're doing self-declaration, you even attach a copy of your ID. So when there are such glaring mistakes in the open, right now, look at how the election has been conducted. Actually, the Chebukati candidates being sanitized or being made saints through the media to look like the dream that Kenya, actually the only choice that Kenya is left with. Whereas when reality come home,
why do you look at them as candidates?
Kisia will tell you that they're tribal kings, and that's why he's telling you that their campaign is based on tribe. And then even the question you asked Dr. Barrack on what we saw was it yesterday, in Kasarani and
on Saturday, yeah.
On Saturday. Those are various tactics. He will tell you in military, there are various tactics of war. It's not just not one. There is combat, yes. Apart from combat, there are artilleries, isn't it? Yes. And there are also snipers.
Yes.
Who you may not see, like David's time. David was a slinger. And snipers are always hidden, and their tactics are very effective. And did David become a king, or did he defeat Goliath, who came as a combat, glorious with masses, riding all over and sending fear all over? You understand? And this is why media must be circumspect in how we think. You don't just stick yourself within the box and think that way. As we're standing today, the tribal, when I hear tribalism, sometimes it reminds me of a slave farm where people were divided, some according to, the short people were set against the long people. In Rwanda, the long nose was set against the short nose. And then the light people against the dark people, male against the female. And this thing, are you trying to say that now Rwanda should just continue with the Hutsi and Tutsi, because that is what defines them, because they are, that's how they are divided?
Before we take a short break, break, Dr. Justus.
And is it working? Is it serving?
Dr. Justus,
that's my point.
Before we take a short break, I think it should be fair that, again, we also get the submissions of Philip on the same, while there could be factors that are a reality as well. And today I use the word reality so much so, because there's technically what is there, and therefore the media is supposed to report on the same. There's technically how they project this, and how the people then would view these matters. Do you suppose they really play an instrumental part on, switching the mindset of the people, especially in this case when we're talking about the voter?
Let me first of all say that I'm not a good student of history. Yeah, not that history is bad. I know my brother Muluka is a good student of history. So is Dr. Matsanga. I'm not in that space. Okay. I am a different space for the reasons that the training I received, puts me in a situation that I think differently. For me, history is good because it is history. It tells you what happened. It allows you to plan for the future. It allows you to correct your mistakes. But the space I sit in, when I was still in school many years ago, there was a subject that we were taught. It was called environmental turbulence and response to change. Because now, if you look at how the external environment was operating 50 years ago, the response to change was very slow. But if you look at the response to change in the current dynamic and turbulent environment, it is very rapid. It's very fast. So if you can't use the same strategies you used 500 years ago to deploy in the current deploy in the current environment. Okay? So we are talking about two different worlds. One history, one future. So I think for me, from where I'm sitting, we are talking about now. Yeah? What is going to happen tomorrow and the day after tomorrow? And how can we act? How can we play to ensure that we can influence the future? We cannot influence the future using what happened 500 years ago. We can only...
But is it not what happened then that has influenced the future today?
No, you had your time, Barrack. You can only influence the future because I can imagine talking to my children what happened 30 years ago. I mean, you... But
if we're looking to speak to those ones that will come 30 years after, yes, based on what we influence...
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying you must analyze the future and develop a strategy that will be able to address the future needs, be it of the market, be it of the voters, whatever it is. But having said that, let me get back to the question of media.
Can we answer that after this short break? Senior, allow us to respond to that after this short break. Thank you.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
As a government-sponsored student, joining Mount Kenya University was the best decision I ever made.
With over 165 fully accredited programs and state-of-the-art learning facilities, you literally have the world in your hands in terms of career choice.
The learning is not only uninterrupted, but also supported through ICT. And within no time, you're done with your studies.
Make the right choice by joining Mount Kenya University.
Mount Kenya University, unlocking infinite possibilities.
Dear fellow Kenyans, I am Ivan Somo.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Matsanga David, as well as Justus Juma. We also have Philip Kisia and Barrack Muluka. Yes, Senior, as you wind up on this question of the media, and there's so much response to that, it feels like there's that general acceptance of the argument that there's been some essence of bias on how the media has been reporting on these questions of politics and generally everything in the country. So we come to you.
You see, to a certain extent, I would want to agree with my two senior brothers, Barrack and Dr. Matsanga. That probably the fringe candidates have not been presented the same opportunity. Mm-hmm. But again, these are people in business. Yes. While you have a responsibility to set up an agenda for the country, you're in business. And from what I know, the two gentlemen are in media. I'm not in the media space. But if you're running a business or anything, the duty, as Barrack has said, the duty of media is to inform, to communicate. Now, if the person who should provide that information has nothing to give you, what are you supposed to communicate? Because you communicate what is given to you. But if those people, probably they need to do a bit of investment. So that they become, more acceptable, so that you don't just get into the space of running into a particular office because you want to make a name. There's a lot of investment that goes into a political office. Yeah, there are a lot of resources that you need to deploy. Yeah, in terms of research, so you have adequate information, in terms of manpower, in terms of machinery. So if you are lacking in those aspects, it becomes very difficult to make you attractive. So where I come from, in terms of management and marketing, market segmentation is there. you segment your market so that you're able to target. Yeah, you can imagine putting Barrack Muluka and Dr. Matsanga, yeah, in a space that they could be familiar with, but that is very untidy. Eh? You know, this one is a clean pig. I'm not saying you're a pig. Matsanga is a clean pig. But you want to put them in a very dirty environment. Eh? By the time they leave, you not know the difference.
That's true.
You not know whether this is the Dr. Barrack Muluka I know about. You'll be looking at him differently. So it is important to segment your market so that you're able to focus and appeal to your target audience.
And indeed,
in closing, I think where did this problem begin? I think,
We're coming to that.
No,
Gentlemen,
listen, Barrack.
Let's cross over to the Bomas. Let's cross over to Bomas of Kenya, and then we come back and expound more on that. And Moige William is on standby. Gentlemen, we'll come back to the question of history and the media, and I'm glad that you remind Dr. Matsanga he's in that space, and with the hard stance of the fact that he says he's a friend of President Uhuru Kenyatta. I'd love to know how he handles his media station in this case. Let's listen to Moige William. Moige William, it's all heated right here in studio, but as well we're excited to know what is happening down there at the Bomas of Kenya. Could you please keep us up to tabs?
Well, good morning to you, Linda. We are currently joining you from the Bomas of Kenya. This will be the nerve center of the 2022 general election. Remember, anything concerning elections and especially the presidential race, all eyes will be focusing here at the Bomas of Kenya. As we speak, everything is all systems go. We have seen a setup of seats, sitting arrangement. We have seen chairs of the 7 commissioners of IEBC led by the chair, that is Wafula Chebukati, already set. The lighting, everything is quite in order here at the Bomas of Kenya. And in this particular place is also where the call center or the communication center will be placed, whereby IEBC officials or any Kenya can call in, raise any issues or any queries from all the 47 counties around Kenya. But most importantly, as we talk of the 2022 general polls, the focus being on the presidential race, which will be here at the Bomas of Kenya, whereby the national returning officer, who doubles up as the IEBC chair, that is Wafula Chebukati, will be sitting here at the Bomas of Kenya. Quick to note, Linda, is that the one, Wafula Chebukati is the one who will call out the presidential race here at the Bomas of Kenya, and the president-elect should be within the premises of Bomas of Kenya. And quite interestingly is that within the 7 days constitutionally, that is after the 9th of August, the presidential race will be called out from this particular place. But also, even as the preparations continue to take place here at the Bomas of Kenya, Linda, it is quick. It is important to remember that this particular election is going to be a very interesting election, because it is a successional race, whereby something that we have noticed of interest is whereby the president is rallying votes against his deputy president, and also the opposition leader is being rallied for votes by the president, that is Uhuru Kenyatta. And with that said, this is another election whereby it has seen the highest number of registered voters, which has gone up by 12.7%. That means this particular election will be having more than 20 million voters registered by IEBC, who will be having an opportunity to head to the polls. That is on the 9th of August, on Tuesday next week. But also interestingly, we have had an additional of polling stations which were gazetted by IEBC, and that has gone up by 13.8%. So that means we have around more than 40,000 polling stations. The precise number is actually 46,232 polling stations, which are spread across the country. But back to the presidential race, which also with the focus or the nerve center will be here at the Bomas of Kenya. We're having 4 candidates, including Deputy President William Ruto. We also have David More of Agano Party. We have George Ojakoya of Roots Party, and also Raila Amolo Odinga, who is with the Azimio coalition. And all those people will be having agents seated here at the Bomas of Kenya to see how things transpire, because at the Bomas of Kenya is where the counter confirmation of results from all the polling stations across the nation will be relayed to, and also whereby the returning officer will be having an opportunity to confirm those digits. But also quite important from the briefings that we have been having from IEBC led by Wafula Chebukati in their previous briefings, and also these briefings which will be will continue happening, is that daily briefings will continue happening. And according to IEBC chair, he has promised that this particular election will be free, credible, but most importantly, transparent. So that means all the 4 agents, all the stakeholders, talking of local and also international observers, will be having a chance to engage IEBC in each and every step, and that will be happening here at the Bomas of Kenya. Also, Linda, before I take it back to you, importantly, we also note there has been some few changes when it comes to IEBC. Currently, we have the CEO, who is Marjan Hussein Marjan. The former was Ezra Shiloba, who is now heading the Communication Authority. But for Wafula Chebukati, this will be his final general election, and to be precise, being the returning officer of the national, being the presiding national returning officer. Remember, he has been at the helm of IEBC for 2 presidential races, that is in 2017 presidential race and also the repeat presidential race. And his term will be coming, this will be his last election, presidential election, whereby he will be the returning officer before he retires from IEBC. And it will be quite interesting, because this particular election, the 2022 election, comes at a backdrop whereby in 2017 the presidential race was nullified by the Supreme Court of Kenya. So all eyes will be at the leadership that Wafula Chebukati offers, even as we count hours towards the general polls of the 9th of August. But for us, keenly here at the Bomas of Kenya, is to give our viewer detail by detail on what will be transpiring here at the Bomas of Kenya each and every minute, each and every hour, until the presidential race has been called out and a president-elect has been announced by this particular agency, that is the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Linda.
Well, thank you, Moige William, and I'm sure I'll be having lots of questions for you, but that should be later on. Before we come back to the gentleman in studio, briefly, let's listen in from what it is that Paul Muniu has to say. Paul Muniu, good morning.
Now, indeed, as the guys say, that are here on the social side, they are detail by detail on what will be transpiring here at the Bomas of Kenya each and every minute, each and every hour, until the presidential race has been called out and the president-elect.
A bit of a hitch right there on the question of sound. We fix it, and then we'll come back to you, Paul Muniu, for more updates on the question of how people are bracing themselves for the vote that is slated for tomorrow, the 9th of August 2022. Back to you, that is senior Philip Kisia, briefly, because we need to get to the heart of the conversation on the question of election.
This is the hard reality, that please don't get into that space because you want to create publicity for yourself. You have to work to get publicity.
Yeah.
You know, don't think that the media houses or the public will do you a favor. If you're not worth reporting, please, you media houses, don't report what is not worth it, what is not news. Okay. Don't be kind to them. You know, we need to be a bit more serious with most of these things. Because if you go for an interview and you're interviewed and you fail the interview, are you going to be given the job? I think the same principle. But let me say this. And we were conversing with my brother Barrack.
The question of history.
You were born in Nairobi. You know, where did the rain start beating us? And he told me to not talk about history, but history that I know is 59 years. My history is 59 years. So we agreed. We seem to agree. No. We seem to agree.
59 is good enough.
We seem to agree that at independence, we got things correctly.
Yeah.
Us who were born and brought up in Islands, we didn't know about tribe. I can tell you for free. Most of us are able to speak more than one language. Barrack can speak about 5, 6 languages. Me, I can probably speak 3 or 4. Okay? But we were just one community. From around the 80s, the rain started beating us. Yeah, because now we started that segmentation in terms of tribe. We didn't see ourselves as Kenyans or as Nairobians, but we started seeing ourselves as tribe. And I suspect it is because of what? Poor leadership.
But there's going to be a shift, don't you think, with the question of intermarriage?
You know, yeah, I'm saying, when Dr. Juma spoke about, I said, what is he's futuristic. That what is likely to happen in the future, what we talk about, what can we do before we are called by our creators? Because all these people here, they should not lie to you. If God is very kind to them, they have 2 more decades. In fact, they have about a decade and a half of active life. If God willing. No, touch wood.
Okay.
Touch wood. No, listen, touch wood. So, you see, what I was saying is, the gentleman here, and next time be gender sensitive, the gentleman here, that we have another decade and a half to impact on the people who are living. So that those things we're talking about, the changes that we desire to have in future can be actualized, can be realized.
I'm keen to ask this question.
Now, you know, the question you should be asking yourself, because the trajectory is broken. And that is why, sadly speaking, 10 years of Barrack Muluka has been wasted. Because probably perceived not to be compliant. Philip Kisia, wasted. Maybe because perceived not to be compliant. Not because we're incompetent or corrupt. I've never seen his name in any corruption case. Neither have you seen mine. Dr. Juma, the same thing. My brother Matsanga, the same thing, a Pan-Africanist. So going forward, so that we can save, I'm talking about Kenya, I talk about Uganda. I know Tanzania, you know, the trajectory is very good because of the foundation that was laid by Mzee Julius Kabarage Nyerere. He laid a strong foundation. And he said, we are one people. And going forward, we must build this foundation. And those who came after him picked up. And that's why you see the democracy, party democracy in Tanzania has really grown beyond what we have actually been able to realize. So,
Senior, we appreciate
moving forward, we need to build party democracies. We need to ensure that those people who ascend to leadership is not because of the man-made resources like money, but what you're able to deliver. I would want to see Barrack in the next government that will be formed. I want to see myself. I want to see my brother Juma. Don't look at us as whichever side wins. Don't look at us as, that team that was supporting X and Y.
Okay. Yeah. All right, Barrack, we come to you. Is it, Dr. Matsanga? Dr. Matsanga, let's be fair. Can I come in? No, let's try and balance this time.
Yes.
Even before you say something,
I'm going to help them
in a bit after we get to hear what Paul Muniu has to say from Murang'a County. Paul, good morning. If you can hear me.
Good morning to you, Linda and Leila. Well, sorry for the technical hitch that we had earlier. And of course, as I said, wanasema kwamba kata simu tuko site. And of course, indeed, we are in county 021, Murang'a County. And of course, the atmosphere, a little bit chilly, but of course, you can tell that the Murang'a County electorate is ready to head into the polls tomorrow. We have at least 21 hours to go to the polls, and of course they will be making decisions to whom they will be able to elect to represent them in the national level. And of course it is so much to look into today, being the election eve. And of course we shall be traversing to various parts of this county, and to just know how well prepared enough is IBC. And of course, we shall also be looking at the security apparatus in the county as well as in various polling stations just to make sure that the election period goes smooth. And of course, I am joined with some of the residents, and of course, they are, been preparing since, 6 months of campaign, work foot and all that. And of course, I just want to hear from them before heading to various polling stations to hear from other electoral agents or rather the IBC agents. Well, asante sana, karibia hapa uweze kutueleza jina lako ni lipi na utuambie umejitayarisha vipi tukielekea uchaguzi katika siku ya kesho.
Okay, kwa majina naitwa Solomon Mwangi. Mimi ni dereva hapa Madhio ya Sako. Siku ya kesho ni siku ya maana sana kwetu sasa. Asubuhi na mapema kama vyenye kulitangazwa saa 12 tutaamka tuende tupige raini alafu tuchague wale viongozi tumejiandaa kupigia kula kwa amani. Kesho asubuhi tutajitokeza mapema zaidi.
Kulingana na wewe, je, umuhimu wa kuweza kutimiza demokrasia yako kama mwananchi wa Kenya, je, ni nini umuhimu wa kupiga kura?
Mimi nasema kama vile mimi ni mtu mdogo sana, niko youth. Najua miaka 5 si miaka kidogo sana. Sasa kesho asubuhi ndivyo nitaenda kuchagua yule kiongozi naona ataniwakilisha kwa hiyo miaka 5 ili anifanyie ile kazi mimi nataka. Kesho asubuhi lazima niende asubuhi na mapema.
Na je, wasia wako kwa Wakenya ambao watajitokeza na wengine ambao bado hawajaamua kama watajitokeza, ungependa kuambia nini?
Mimi nitaambia mtu hivi, asipojitokeza hata chagua yule kiongozi anayetaka. Sasa nataka kila mtu ajitokeze apige kura. Na tupige kura kwa amani. Ukikaa nyumbani hautapiga kura. Yule kiongozi ulikuwa unataka hata pata hiyo nafasi. Jitokeze upatie yule kiongozi unataka. Kwa hiyo miaka 5 atusimamie na atufanyie ile kazi. Tuko na kazi mingi ya mabarabara, maji, youth, everything.
Asante sana. Naam, wacha tuongee na dereva mwingine hapa aweze kutuelezea hisia zake ni zipi tukiwa tumesalia na masaa 21 ili tuweze kuelekea katika debe. Unajihisi vipi siku ya leo na umejitayarisha vipi?
Mimi kwa majina yangu naitwa Samson Irongo. Mimi ni mkaaji wa Murang'a. Hiyo siku ya kesho naona kama kila mtu ako tayari kupiga kura. Tunataka uchaguzi wa amani, kila mtu apige kura, tuamke mapema na tudumishe amani kama Wakenya.
Need we say more, Linda Alela? Well, those are some of the views, from the Murang'a County electorate. Just to reiterate that Murang'a County is one of the regions that are in Mount Kenya region. And of course, this region is well known for voting in blocks. Remember in 2013 and in 2017, the region voted for, it voted in a block for the Jubilee Jubilee Party, the government party as for now. And of course, we are waiting to see what will be happening tomorrow. And of course, from here, I will be heading to various polling stations, talk to various, IBC agents, and of course, some security apparatus, and just to see how things are working. So I shall be joining you in our later bulletin. So thank you so much, Linda Alela. Back to you in the studio. My name is Paul Munio.
Thank you so much, Paul Munio, for that. Later on, again, we come back to you all the way from Murang'a County as we hear what the mountain has to say. And in a bit, we get into that conversation of what the mountain then will decide. We can almost, predict, if not to, clearly articulate on this. But before then, Dr. Barrack, briefly, and I think it's important that we wind up on this so we get to the actual conversation of the vote, the exit of President Uhuru Kenyatta, the exit of Chebukati after this, and what he is likely to deliver to the people of Kenya. Would it not be contradictory for, Phillip Kisia to argue that we should work on the now, what is happening right here? And then again, he says that we should use what we're working on today, to perhaps, make sure that the future is well placed. I mean, if we're not going to use what was worked on by the forefathers to fix today, how then do we use what is there today to fix tomorrow?
Yeah, Philip first begins by making a confession that he's not in history. though we see him slipping back to start asking where the rain started beating us.
That's history.
Forgetting that he has just told us a few moments ago that history doesn't matter. But if we are going to interrogate where the rain started beating us, then we go into history. And a lot of people who are here talking about history actually need to be schooled about history because they don't seem to understand what history is. History is what has happened a few minutes ago, a few seconds ago. It's part of our story. It's about our memory. When you tell us that history is not important, my brother Philip, you are telling us that we should suffer loss of memory so that we are existing in a very fickle and a very short present, that the future should not even matter for that reason. Just imagine all of us coming here and we have lost our memory. We may not even remember who we are, because you have got to know where you are, because you know where you have come from, and therefore you know where you want to go. And it's basically because you have memory and you're building upon that memory, correcting the mistakes that have been made in the past by yourself and by others. Indeed, when we talk about history today, there's such a notion as social history. The ordinary people participating in the making of history, their history. Brother Philip Kisia talks about the environment and the way that environment responds to shocks. The environment is the society itself, and this society is indeed responding to certain shocks and therefore reconstructing itself, reconstructing its reality. When we go to the elections tomorrow, it's because we are trying to reconstruct our reality. We have heard people talking about this has been bad, this is not good, the cost of living. They're talking about poverty, they're talking about education. It is a reality that we need to reconstruct so that we can have a better tomorrow. And we are talking about that better tomorrow because we know about yesterday, about the past, which we are saying has been a bad past. People have been talking about 59 years and they've been saying that they don't like the trajectory that we have taken. That is our history. And so we cannot dismiss our history outright. The thing which I like to say finally, Linda, because I don't want to gauge too much time, listening to the leaders on what we now call both sides of the political divide, because we have dismissed the other two, I've been worried about education. They think about education. Their visionary agenda about education in the manifestos has been about funding of education, whether it's going to be free from nursery through primary, high school, university, and so on. There's been very little attention on the software. And we know that Professor Simeon Hongo Ominde, and I go into history again, Philip, 1964-65, a whole 2 years of trying to put together a visionary agenda for education for this country. And in Tanzania, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere was also talking about education. And the bottom line is that while the Kenyan context has laid a lot of emphasis on mechanical stuff, in Tanzania they laid a lot of emphasis on the software, the values of education. Here we think that if you write values in the Constitution, then the following morning people will wake up and they remember that there is Article 10 and that now we are a value-driven society. That cannot transform us. We need, as Philip says, to go back to where the rain started beating us and see where it is that we lost the values. We are a society whose values an insect has eaten. And which insect is this? How do we capture this insect and get rid of it? And we must capture them young and start attempting to mold a new society. The kind of Kenya we aspire to see is unlikely to happen during our times, driven by people like myself, because we are part of the mess. But within this mess, within the biblical context, we can find a remnant, a small remnant seed that then infuses these values in education. So where are we going to find the formula that reconstructs our education, the philosophy of our education, the capturing of the minds, the molding of a future generation, that the children already know that this is wrong, this is right. You see, the children have been seeing in this country everywhere.
Thank you.
And you know,
they've been asking, toa pesa, everywhere. The kids have learned to ask, toa pesa, kura iko, toa pesa. Even the kid who doesn't have an elector's card.
Yeah, but we are going.
Let me
come in.
Can we try and balance this?
It was my turn.
Because submission
I've been mentioned several times by my brother.
No, but he will reply, but it was my turn.
Was it your
Can
turn?
I just,
was it not Justus Juma?
Can I just, before
30 seconds,
please.
right to reply.
You see, not right to, I mean.
Okay, right. But because you say you've mentioned extensively, so yes.
Yeah, everybody, including Barrack, must protect their space.
Okay.
So being a historian, I understand why he's so protective about history. I did not say that history is not important. What I'm just saying is that when you are projecting to the future, history is important. It probably teaches you what you can do, what you cannot do. But when you project into the future, you look at the external and internal operating environment.
Okay.
Now, to be able to deal with the future, look at those two parameters. What you need is to be able to analyze the turbulence and prepare a response for the future.
Okay.
Now, you cannot prepare for the future, you cannot prepare for the future solely based on a history that happened 500 years ago.
Or you
I think that is you see, no, in terms of history, yes. You know, when you're telling stories to your great grandchildren.
Oh boy.
When you're telling stories to your grandchildren, that is
stop.
That is applicable.
Let's make it easy.
Philip,
no, let's make it easy by taking a short break.
I was talking about management.
We are taking a short break.
There's even history of management.
When you're talking about management,
yes,
you are analyzing two environments: internal operating environment and external,
which is historical.
Now, it is now.
Juma,
And
now it is.
Gentlemen,
so
it is historical.
You don't place history on the table.
And I think
there is no now.
No, we have to take a short break. Senior, we have to take a short break.
At closing.
30
that is why.
Less than.
That is why, before, and I'm sure.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories. The moment is finally here. Years, months, days. Tuesday is the day. The deciding moment for Kenya. Join our team spread across the country for wall-to-wall coverage of Election 2022 on your channel of choice, TV47, the home of untold stories.
Trison School of Medical Health Science and Technology is a premier training institute for market-driven courses. With state-of-the-art facilities, competent and dedicated members of staff, and linkages with the medical industry, you are assured of a bright future. Study with us. Enroll today in our campuses at Juja, Nairobi West, Kisumu, and Homa Bay.
Hi, my name is Francis Chege. I work at TV47 in the finance department. I'm urging all Kenyans to keep and maintain peace during and after this general election, because Kenya is bigger than all of us. Keep peace.
Stories.
All right, welcome back to the broadcast. We cross over to Eldoret and we listen into what it is that the people of Eldoret have to say, and then we'll come back to the gentleman in studio. So much to articulate. Wanasema kuna vitu vingi lakini muda ndio mchache. Kwa hiyo let's cross over to Eldoret for a moment and then we come back to studio. How are you?
Oh, fine, thank you, Linda. And today here in Eldoret is quite a very chilly morning, and we are coming to you from Hurumo Police Station. And today there haven't been any dispatched. Election materials have been dispatched. As my cameraman can show you, people are here. People are trying to watch to see what's their names, where their names are, which street they will be voting from. And if I can have a word with some of the locals over here. Yes. Nakushikia kwa majina. What's your name? Umejitayarisha kuhusu kesho?
Ndio nimefanya nikuja hapa. Nimekuja hapa kuangalia ndio nijue mambo iko na maana. Saa 11 tutakuwa hapa na hao wase.
Labda unatoka wapi?
Mimi natoka tu hapa karibu, area yangu ni ya Huruma, Eldoret hapa.
Security ya hii area umeona ni aje?
Kwa saa hii hakuna shida, kuko sawa kila mahali. Iko sawa.
Asante. Jambo.
Mzuri bwana.
Majina tuelezee.
Mimi
unaonaje? Hiyo singisho kupoje? Kuna
iko sawa kabisa. Usalama iko kabisa, ni mzuri. Yeah.
Unajitayarisha kuhusu kesho?
Sana. Yeah.
Kwa saa ngapi?
Nitaamuka 6:30. Yeah.
Asante. Labda mzee tuelezee unatoka wapi? Tueleze kwa majina.
Mimi natoka Huruma. Ni hapa Huruma.
Unakuja kupiga kura hapa?
Na mimi napiga kura hapa.
Asante. Naam, Linda, if you have had like people from residents from Western Gishu are very ready for tomorrow. It's been months to weeks to days, and now it's hours to the D-Day, which is tomorrow on election day. And as you have heard, like people are the security in this county is boosted, and people are at peace, and they are hoping that there will be peace in the coming few days. Thank you. Back to you, Linda.
Joseph Nganga, all the way from Eldoret. Asante sana. Again, we'll be coming to you later on. But to loop in Dr. Justus Juma. And gentlemen, I'd love for us to close this question of history, because we can talk about that up until the cows come back home and perhaps not get to that level of, general understanding.
We can't. Yes, Linda. Yeah? Linda, where we are seated at Ojeje Road. Ojeje Road is one of the famous freedom fighters who stood before the white man, and he resisted the cows of Kanjira in Homa Bay from being taxed. And when the governor asked him, by whose authority, you single one person, would you resist or stand before us? Why you think we should not take the cows? And he says, by the people's power. Says the people. In the law we said, Pinyo Wacho, Ojeje Kotesi, the sovereignty of the people. And I think the context of our discussion right now is the reality, the perceived reality of what should be driving our campaign agenda, whether should it be tribal, according to my brother Dr. Philip, or should it be issue-driven. But I take it back to the actual reality, which is the Constitution, which has stipulated the process by which a nation or Kenya should conduct its elections. Power belongs to the people. We donate it according to Article 1, subsection 2, to democratically instituted offices. And this is the time. And that's why I started here by stating that it's time to make our democracy work. And the people and the sovereignty of the people is sometimes what is abused, to a point that those who are concealing themselves behind certain offices have presented themselves to actually be the bosses and more sovereign, to a point that what they think should be what the people think. And this is, I think, the madness that needs to stop. Because even as we stand today, look at the vision of ORPP, Office of Registrar of Political Party. They envisage a democratic environment which is people-centered, devoid of populism and personism, but driven by ideology. That is today. If you look at their vision, they are the managers, and IBC equally. So if we were to talk about populism and personism, the ingredients of populism is sycophancy, nepotism, and tribalism. Because a good democracy works in an environment where institutions functions, not individuals. So when we sit here and start glorifying ingredients that are making us work or go against the constitutional provisions, where we envisage functional institutions, not functional individuals. The moment we are left with a personist and a populist to be the definition of what Kenya must choose in the ballot box, and we're discussing it on the 8th of August, just a day before second Tuesday, that is stipulated in our constitution after every 5 years, that Kenyans should go to the ballot and answer to their democratical delegation, where we delegate our sovereignty or our power to the people who represent our interests. I think we should be awoken to the reality of the instruments that are governing this nation, unless people are living in utopia and creating their own reality and conceptualizing them in the media and throwing them at our face to be the things that we're believing in, because those things have no standard of evaluation of what standard are you going to use to account to a leader who is elected on tribal merit. There's no constitutional provision for that standard. And that is why the media, for the state, and even fellow members as we sit, we should inform and communicate the actual reality. Is not historical. And if anything, John Henry Clark says that history is the clock of humanity that tells them what they were, who they are, and who they must be.
Okay. Dr. Matsanga, do not celebrate just yet. We're coming.
I am not celebrating.
I'm saying do not celebrate because I'm not looping you in just yet. Yes. And on the basis of his, submissions, we'll be looking at the reign of President Uhuru Kenyatta. We seek to understand whether he leaves us with solid institutions, whether then, he brings to us or he leaves us with, stable systems for that particular matter. But before then, let's cross over to Embu and in Meru, sorry. And we have John Java Kiania, who's on standby there to tell us what the people of Meru have to say and whether they're all set for the general election. John, if you can hear me.
Well, I'm getting you loud and clear here in Meru County, Linda Harela. And of course, it's just the preparations for the Tuesday or tomorrow's general elections. And Meru County people here are anticipating, and they are hopeful that tomorrow's exercise will be conducted freely without any problems. And of course, we spoke to the county elections manager, and of course the dispatchment of elections materials expected to start at 10 a.m. And of course, there is also an incident in Meru County where there is a sort of insecurity issues. Of course, there is an incident that took place, or rather happened on Saturday, where one of the cars belonging to Tigania MP, Tigania East MP Gichonge Kabebea was consumed in flames at night at Mikindori. And of course, we expect the county commissioner, because he is expecting to address the media briefing. He is expected to have a media briefing at around 10:30 today to maybe give details on what happened and what happened concerning that incident. In Meru County, in terms of gubernatorial race, here in Meru County, it's a bit tight. That is pitting the current, or rather the incumbent Kiraitu Murungi, who is going to face off the senator of this county, Mithika Rinturi. And also it is interesting because we have the women representative of this county, that is Kawera Mwangaza, and they all have pitched tents in their campaigns in the last days so that they can popularize their manifesto. So it is it's going to be a very, very tight race, because it is pitting the current governor, the senator, and the women representative of this county. So we are keeping an eye at this contest to see how it will unfold. And also I expect tomorrow, we spoke to people here, and of course they have said that they are also ready to exercise their democratic right here in Meru County. So Linda, here in Meru County, that is what is happening currently. When we leave here, of course, we are going to the county commissioner's office, where he is expected to give details on security matters and the level of preparedness here in Meru County. So in matters of preparedness, we leave it there, because the details we will have to get from the county elections manager earlier on, and of course the county commissioner, who is expected to give more details on the same.
John Javan there, and of course we'll be coming back to you later on. But on this other side of Embu County, on standby, Kumotho, we need to hear what the people of Embu have to say. If you can hear me.
Naam, asante sana. I can hear you very well, and right now I'm at the county behind me. The ballot boxes, other materials are already other materials are ready here. And as we were addressed yesterday, is that ballot boxes for the ballot papers for the senatorial seat had not arrived but by yesterday in the morning they were already center. And as we talk right now, is that all the vehicles are outside here waiting to ensure that they have been transported to the main polling stations. That is, and remember, in Embu County we have about 710 main stations, whereby some of them they have at least 3 polling stations. That is, tallying centers have at least 3 polling stations. But with me here, I'm with the Manyata constituency PO, and we can talk to him. Now tell us, how have you prepared for this?
Yeah, thank you. Morning viewers, my name is Caleb Gekonde. I'm the returning officer for Manyata. And to update all the members of the BAPRIC, yeah, it's all systems go. We are And at the moment, we are just waiting for maybe in the afternoon, we release the poll of issues to their respective polling stations.
Maybe in terms of prepared the security team, how many polling stations are they ready? And at the same time, can you tell us about how I can see a number of vehicles outside here?
Good question. On the sides of security, we have 2 per polling station. Yeah, they have alive to 200, and we are expecting more, so that we'll have 464 security officers who will be deployed to the respective polling stations. And the vehicles, yeah, there are some coming and there are others. Noon, everything will be ready and we release the poll of issues to their polling stations.
Maybe the court ruled out that there should be some printed papers.
It's not really a printed papers, it's a printed register. Yeah, we are a law-abiding institution. We have done that one. Already we have the printed register in the polling stations. In the event the KEMS fail, and we want to believe the KEMS will work, pronounce itself clearly on the use of the printed register. Clerk number 2 will be in charge of the printed register. Once the voter has been identified to the ballot papers, he'll cross out the name using the black pen, and then we leave out the ID in the printed.
That is Caleb Gikondi in charge of Manyata constituency, and we shall keep an eye until the viewer will get at least satisfied on our coverage. Thank you. Back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Kimotho Karanu. So much so down there as to what is happening in terms of the preparation and how IEBC is making sure that it will be a seamless process down in Embu County. We'll be coming to you later as well. But back to you, Dr. Matsanga.
Yes.
And, just picking it up from where Justus Juma left it, on the question of, solid institutions as to whether President Uhuru Kenyatta, and I mean, he wasn't particular to him, but I think it's only fair that we speak of this. You say you come to a place, you leave it better than you found it. Taking it from the reign of, the former, that is Kibaki, may his soul rest in eternal peace. And to this very moment, do you suppose the next person who will take it up from President Uhuru Kenyatta will find solid institutions, will find solid structures, will find stability on how the systems have been handled, and looking at it on the perspective of what has been leveled against President Uhuru Kenyatta, contempt of court, trying to interfere with the institutions and all that?
Thank you very much. I'm going to speak this historical, and I am a historian, not like Dr. Kisia or my student Kisia. By the way, I'm his supervisor in one of the subjects. Yes.
He will tell us.
Yes, he can tell you he's here. Let me tell you, I'm speaking this because my opposition leaders are in this country. Both of them are observing elections of Kenya.
When you say your opposition leader, you mean
Besigye
and Bobby Wine?
Yes, they're here.
Okay.
And
we need to be clear.
I want them to watch me.
You've also said that Britain is your home, so we just wanted to get that clear.
No, the opposition leader from the place where I was born.
Yes.
Some 67 years ago. I just want to tell you, what kills Kenya is not all what these friends of mine have talked. They have just skirted around it. It is called structural challenges. Kenya faces structural challenges. Even if you take to any scholar of any material, whatever you're done in mathematics, like our friend who claimed he had done mathematics, actuarial science, at the University of Nairobi, but it came out that he doesn't even know mathematics.
And so you agree that President Uhuru Kenyatta has not attempted to address
No,
this?
he did. I'm coming to that. Kenyatta found the Constitution of 2010 has structural challenges.
He was coming in at a point when we were just
He was handed over. He has done, and please, whether you go to Angel Gabriel and come back, I will defend Uhuru Kenyatta on so many things. If it had been some other African country, I think Uhuru Kenyatta would have said enough is enough. There were so many hurdles that were left by this constitution. It is the first time in Kenya that a man can steal money on Friday. A man can rape a person on Friday and go to court on Thursday, go to court in the morning and get what we call anticipatory what?
Order.
Order. Am I wrong?
Yep.
Anticipatory order. He has raped someone. But he goes to court and the judge gives him anticipatory order that DCI Kinoti is coming for me.
He's likely to come for
all these guys have read PhDs. They are here, even that Muluka who is looking down now. He knows that is a structural challenge of any country. I've not heard even in Britain, which brought us this thing called democracy, which they call us. Go under human rights. The British people killed people. Do you know how many people have died from Anglo-Saxon, Roman Empire, the Turks? Have you seen Napoleon War? You know Napoleon invaded that island in Waterloo. He found a problem. How many people died before we created democracy? So democracy in Africa evolves, and it's going to evolve. It takes time. What Kenya faces today is structural challenges. What you need to do when my man becomes the president next time, start with removing those structural challenges. Criminalize some things. In Uganda, it's a very bad crime. If you walk on the streets of Kampala, and Muluka, I am just warning him because he is usually calling me a Mugisu from Bududa. If the police of Uganda is hearing you, you call me a Northerner, a Teso, a Munyankole, a Musheshe, a Munyarwanda, a Mugisu. You will go for 3 months. Your bag you have just carried here, you will not come with it. They have criminalized. Museveni has done very well on that one. He has criminalized tribalism. Tribalism in Uganda is gone. You can't call Matsanga a Mugisu and you walk around and say, he's a Mugisu, I'm a Northerner. That one went. Obote started it, removed the kingdoms that were creating division, the structural challenges that my friends historically are talking about. He removed them. We have never reversed. In Tanzania, Ujamaa brought us where we are today. Nyerere planted a spirit of Ujamaa, Utu, Ubuntu. In Kenya, we have very little. We are good people. Kenyans are very good people. But when it comes to you, to structural challenges, can I give you another example? You become a governor of, who is the governor of this Vihiga? Otichiro. Why did you elect Otichiro as the governor and not put Joho?
Or Joho. So you're saying
you created a structure that has created tribalism, that has created corruption. Change your constitution.
Can you stop shouting?
Can we, let's come to...
I'm not shouting.
His style is... Okay,
I am making a point.
Okay.
You know, this is the whole problem of a man who is very eager to go to fly out to Emmanuel.
To vote, which is his constitutional right.
I am not flying. I'm comfortable here.
Hold it. Let's come to him. Let's come to him and talk about...
Let me finish this point so that it can sound better for him.
Make it very brief.
Very brief. You have oil in Turkana.
Yes.
You have created a governor called Nanoko. In the future, which futuristic man is saying, you might not be able to drill that oil.
Because he's going to say, this is my region.
This is my
tribal warlords.
Before you take it out, we are creating political warlords. Somalia collapsed because of political warlords. When the Americans told Siad Barre that divide Somalia into regions of devolution. Evolution is good.
We're reminded.
You can't move without evolution.
Okay, we are reminded that, and I mean, I'd love for Muluka as well as Kisia to, probably advance on that conversation. And we're reminded that President Uhuru Kenyatta yesterday addressed the Gema, fraternity
Yes.
for that particular matter.
Is there anything wrong in the constitution that stops?
Is there anything wrong in that? Dr. Muluka.
Dr. Matsanga,
I'm now keeping quiet.
Hold his peace a bit and listen.
I'm keeping quiet.
Proceed.
And I'll listen. I'm here to defend Uhuru Kenyatta. By the way.
Proceed.
Up to the end.
A bit of logic. We are not here to defend or attack anybody, including President Yoweri Museveni.
I have not attacked him. I've given him
Dr.
credit.
Matsanga, you said you're going to listen.
Yes, I gave him credit for
Can we
having
allow
removed
Dr.
the
Barrack? Can
tribalism.
we allow Dr. Barrack make his submissions?
Museveni has not removed tribalism. He's the person who says,
we
are tired of these Njaruos who are always causing problems from Militoni.
He says that, Dr. Matsanga.
From Militoni Obote to the Okedosi, Idi Amini, causing troubles all over East Africa. So don't go there.
I've not gone there. You come here.
So
proceed.
Let us talk about President Uhuru. And Linda, you said that let us put this one of history behind us so that we can now even assess the legacy of President Uhuru. The moment we begin to appreciate President Uhuru's tour of duty, we are getting into history. We are trying to find out where he found the country, as Matsanga correctly observes. We are trying to find out what shocks and turbulences he found in that environment, as Philip Kisia correctly observes. And we are going to try to analyze them and see what he got right, what he may not have got so right. And as Justus Juma says, we find how to leap forward into the future. You cannot run away from history. To try to run away from history is to attempt to run away from yourself. And you cannot run away from yourself. President Uhuru's job is just coming to an end in a few weeks' time. We can't tell how many weeks they're going to be because we really don't know about the dynamics of tomorrow. We know the path, the possible paths and avenues, but we don't know what will happen after the polls and indeed at the polls tomorrow. But that said and done, his lawful tenure is coming to an end. And as it is coming to an end, we, the historians, our job is just beginning. We are going to pick up our pens, we are going to pick up the books, we are going to pick up the papers which are part of the historiography, we are going to listen to people, to interview them, we are going to go to the archives, and we are going to tell the story of the presidency of Uhuru Kenyatta. It is now rather late in the day. He only has one card left to play, and that card is that of ensuring that the exercise which is now ongoing goes on peacefully, and that he hands over to the next captain a healthy ship of state, and that it's going to be stable. Indeed, I dare be bold enough to say that if there is one person who can ensure that there is stability, that the elections are peaceful, that they are free and fair, it's the person who sits at the very top in the organization of the state. And President Uhuru Kenyatta will be remembered, unfortunately, and this should go out to all the four who are attempting to become president. He's going to be remembered as a president who held the whole country in contempt. A president who held institutions and the rule of law in contempt. He did things the way he thought he wanted to do them, regardless, or as he would say himself, irregardless of what the law said. He's going to be remembered as a president who kept a citizen of this country offshore for 5 years, in spite of active court orders that said this citizen should come back home, and if there were any issues about him, those issues should have been adjudicated in the courts of law. He's going to be remembered as the president who held in contempt court orders that required him to appoint judges who had actually been interviewed, including by his Attorney General, including by his representatives on the Judicial Service Commission of Kenya. He's going to be remembered as the president who campaigned for his candidate in his mother tongue on radio outside the accepted time. And Philip Kisia told you...
Was that about campaign?
It was not a campaign.
Was it campaign?
Why?
Anyway, let me keep quiet.
Please keep quiet.
Let me keep quiet
Matsanga,
because
yes.
he's attacking the president too much.
I'm not attacking anybody. Why can't he listen?
Proceed.
Yeah. I understand Gikuyu. Nindamenya Gikuyu. Nindiraigwagwa Gikuyu.
And we had Philip saying that you know that.
Nindira kana science nengukwera Gikuyu ni.
I understand Luya. What? How many?
Okay.
What, can we speak Luya?
Proceed. And therefore you listened to the president proper, and he was responding to media stations that were...
He was saying things like, I will not campaign because the campaign period has ended, but you know who I support. And I want you to elect somebody who is not focused on himself. I want you to elect somebody who is thinking about the country, and you know who I am talking about. And
you think that is not the duty of the president, especially when we're talking about the question of protecting the people?
At a certain moment. His duty that is remaining in protecting the people is to make sure that his government and his officers do not tamper with the elections, that they do not precipitate anything that could throw the ship of state into jeopardy, and to ensure that he hands over. And Mr. Matsanga should be listening to what I'm saying so that he can respond to what I'm saying. And Mr. Matsanga should know that there has been lip service on the war against corruption, that we were told we would hear about KEMSA within 21 days. We have not. This president is retiring without telling us what happened. We were told that we would hear about the Panama trillions within 21 days. We have not. This president is retiring without us hearing about that. We know that this president presented the TJRC report before Parliament, and TJRC report is a narrative, a repository of all the major scandals that have happened in this country, and nothing has happened about it. We know that Goldenberg, their names which were listed and which we expected to deal with under this dispensation of corruption, nothing has happened. We know about the Land Commission report of the Ndungu Commission, nothing has happened. So we know that there has been lip service, and that that lip service, even if we are being told to forget about our history, is going to be part of the story of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta. And finally, we are talking about peace and peaceful elections. And sometimes you get the impression that this country is about to be attacked by the Kraken wakes from Mars. You get the impression that some unknown extraterrestrial creatures are about to descend upon us to mess us up. Who created that environment?
Philip Kisia.
Let me, I'll not, of course, I respect my senior brother Barrack, and his views are valid. But let me look at President Uhuru Kenyatta and the impact, because the impact is, is legacy. How will I remember President Uhuru Kenyatta, the fourth president of the Republic? And let me remind Barrack, President Uhuru's term will end when he transfers the instruments of power to the next president. So he's still the president and commander-in-chief of the Kenya Defense Forces until then. So when those instruments are transferred, then you can say, then I can say now, let my friend Uhuru Kenyatta get into retirement, if he so wishes. But let me say this, that the president, the fourth president, I will remember him for focusing on Vision 2030. And I think and I believe that he has impacted positively on the people of Kenya. Of course, like a human being, he could be having his faults. But rather than focus on his faults, I would rather focus on the positive impact that is leaving behind. Because in management, we talk about building on the blocks, okay? And I keep on referring to people who are in leadership not taking the zero approach mentality to management. They don't start from zero. He didn't start from zero. He started from where Kibaki had left, my favorite president. Okay. So what are some of the things that Uhuru has been able to achieve, particularly in his second term, despite the fact that he was facing serious challenges? There was a global recession. Then we had COVID that consumed half of his second term, but he was able to navigate through with those challenges. He is living a very strong economy.
Is it?
We have, yes, one second. I'm not talking about history, I'm talking about management. He has moved this economy from position 12 in Africa to position 6. That is a reality. He has moved the real GDP from 4.7 trillion to about 12 trillion. Okay? These are facts. This is not fiction. Now, let us look at some of the things that, some of the hard things that you can see that Uhuru is leaving behind. First of all, let me talk about the soft one that we may want to ignore. And I can tell you, we shall remember this gentleman. Okay? He has been bold enough to tell his people, who are my relatives, he can speak their language, but they're my relatives, that we must stop this ping-pong thing. Yeah? Government of Kenya. Gikuyu, Kalenjin, Kalenjin, Gikuyu, Gikuyu. He has been bold enough to say, we are all Kenyans, we are one community. Other people can also do what? Can also provide leadership. Okay? So to be bold and face a community that has all the resources that can be deployed to win an election, I think you need a lot of...
with all the democratic strides that we've made.
Yes, and then, one second, is my time, don't consume my time. Now, let me get...
Am I not the moderator?
let me get, right. Linda, let me now get into specifics.
Okay.
Of course, before specific, let me talk about embracing his opponent.
Yeah.
Because you see, for those who are in business, those who have been in private sector, you know that the economy can only attract foreign direct investment or investors if there's peace and tranquility. By embracing his opponent, he was able to create that environment, and that's why probably the direct foreign investment it has increased in the last few years, despite the global recession, despite the COVID challenges that we faced. Now, when you look at infrastructure, I think Uhuru, other than Prebu Kibaki, who started that trajectory based on Vision 2030, when Uhuru took over this leadership of this country, we had been independent for about 49 years. He found 10,000 kilometers of roads tarmacked in 49 years. He is leaving us with over 20,000 kilometers of tarmac roads. When President Uhuru took over, the investment into water infrastructure, had been ignored for more than 2-3 decades. He is leaving us with several dams. His investment in the water infrastructure in the Republic of Kenya is beyond 800 billion. I'm not talking about Aror Kimorel. That one is not part of these arithmetics. When he took over this leadership of this country, we had a lot of challenges in terms of our territorial integrity. He has invested in our security agencies that now our ratio of police to citizenry is at about 300 to 100,000. The international benchmark is 450 to 100,000.
I keep reminding you that it's not up to par, yes?
I'm saying
but at least
not up to par.
Yeah.
We're talking about an international benchmark.
Okay.
We have done better than the international benchmark, okay? Because use benchmarks. My very good brother and senior brother, Barrack Muluka, Daktari, he's talked about corruption.
Okay.
You know,
Senior, allow me to cut you short.
Yes.
Briefly. So we can cross over to Homa Bay. I am told there's the returning officer who would love to tell us something about what's happening in Homa Bay, the land of Kidero, the land of Gladys Wanga.
Yeah.
And therefore, let's allow him.
The land of Kenyans, not of two individuals.
Is it? Well, that's just symbolic, not necessarily. That's not the actual thing. Okay, that's the reason why Barrack says he's from Emmanuel. It doesn't mean that Emmanuel is his alone. There are a couple of other people who enjoy this space. All right, let's cross over to Homa Bay. Dennis Otieno on standby. And Dennis, if you can hear me, kindly keep us up to tabs as to what is playing out there.
Well, thank you very much, Linda Lela. Now, it is absolutely right. We're at county number 043. That is Homa Bay County. Now, at the moment, we're at the Homa Bay High School, and it is one of the many polling centers that we have in Homa Bay County. Now, at the moment, as the preparations for the general election continue to intensify, well, we're having a number of, seminars that are being conducted in the various polling centers across Homa Bay County. Now, right here at the Homa Bay High School, we're having an IBC seminar that is currently ongoing. And we have, a number of IBC officials who are currently conducting a seminar that is actually right behind me. And what is happening at the moment is that they're having an exercise known as breaking of the ballot pallets. Now, if I could just take you through, the exercise that is currently ongoing, that is, known as the breakage of the ballot pallets. Like you can see right behind me, Linda Lela, a lot of exercises going on right there. The officials are breaking the pallets and, confirming some of the kits and some of the materials that will be used, in the general election. That is, as of early morning, that is going to be tomorrow. So a number of officials, like right behind me is the Deputy Returning Officer of Homa Bay Town Constituency. And, he's definitely confirming some of the material. And also among the other officials that is walking right behind me is the Returning Officer of Homa Bay Town Constituency. And that is basically the exercise that is ongoing. They're verifying the materials that will be used. Like you can see, these are the pallets, and these are the pallets that contain the materials that will be used come, the general election that is going to be held tomorrow's of early morning that is going to be tomorrow. Now remember, County 043, Homa Bay County, has attracted, intense political campaigns from two main rivals that are looking to succeed the outgoing governor, that is Cyprian Awiti. Now the two main rivals include Evans Kidero, the former Nairobi governor, and also Gladys Wanga. Now remember these two, at one point they were ODM party members, but one of them opted out of the ODM party, that is Evans Kidero, the former Nairobi governor. And this transpired after Evans Kidero, got to realize that Gladys Wanga had been given the bid to vie for the gubernatorial seat in Homa Bay County after a consensus from the ODM party. So remember, Linda, it is a highly contested seat, the Homa Bay County seat, two very powerful factions and two powerful individuals. We're here to see how it's going to unravel, and we're here to see the number of voters, registered voters, that are going to be streaming right here and among the many other polling centers that we will be having, as the general election continues. Now, I'm not quite sure if I could have a word with the returning officer of Homa Bay County Constituency. Maybe if we could just get to him and, get some of his sentiments. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for, sharing with us your sentiments. We are having a seminar of IBC at the moment. Kindly brief us and take us through basically the exercise that is ongoing at the moment. Kindly take us through what we're having at the moment.
Currently, I'm Gregory Diamboko, the constituency returning officer. We've received all the ballot boxes for elective positions. So currently, we are breaking the ballot pallets to ascertain the number of ballot papers, whether they are commensurate to the number of polling stations that we have. We have for several elective positions. We started with that of president. We'll then proceed to member of National Assembly, then member of County Assembly, We follow that sequence until lastly we'll be opening the palace for the governor. With us here are agents for political parties and political candidates to witness the opening process so that it enhances the transparency in the opening of the palace.
It seems like it is going to be a rigorous exercise. Is it going to take the whole day, or you have other, other exercises that you're going to conduct as the day goes by?
Even though it's appearing to be hectic, we cannot take a whole day because we want to start distributing election materials to the various polling stations from midday. So we anticipate that this process will be through before midday. This of opening palace should be through within the next 1 hour. Then we start sorting the ballot papers and putting them in the appropriate ballot boxes. After that, we release election officials to go to the polling stations.
So in terms of preparations, would you say that you're absolutely prepared and you're ready for the general election?
Precisely. We are absolutely prepared. We've recruited election officials. We have 125 presiding officers, 125 deputy presiding officers, and 800 polling counting clerks. The vehicles, as you had witnessed when you are outside, are already packed. So we only need to be through with the ballot paper distribution, and then we release the officials.
All right. Thank you very much for your feedback. All right, Linda, a very confident returning officer over there of Homa Bay Town constituency, talking about the preparedness of the IEBC around this area. So definitely we will be keeping up to tabs. We will be following up with the exercise. We'll be looking at how prepared they are, and we will be following up on their preparations. Now, one thing to remember, Linda, is that Homa Bay County is made up of 8 constituencies, among them being Suba, Karachuonyo, Homa Bay Town constituency, and the 8 constituencies that make up Homa Bay County. So it is a vast county, and the total number of registered voters is 551 and 71 registered voters. 551,071 registered voters. So we'll be following up with the exercise that is going on today, the election preparedness, and following up with IEBC and looking at how prepared they are or how well prepared they are. And then we'll be bringing you up to speed in our subsequent bulletins. So back to you in studio, Linda.
Well, thank you so much. Well articulated right there by our very own Dennis Otieno, who's in Homa Bay County, and therefore later on as well we get more updates from that, and where the gubernatorial position as well is quite a tight one to watch. Hugely the stakes are in favor of Gladys Wanga as well as Evans Kidero, a bit of a 50-50 affair, but we'll be keenly following up to see what plays out in this case. Then we cross over to Kiambu County, Kikuyu to be precise. Mike Agungo on standby for more updates on that. Mike Agungo, if you can hear me. Well, I'm told we're still looking, trying to get, okay, yes, Mike Agungo.
Thank you, Linda Lela. I can get you loud and clear from Kiambu County, to be precise, in Kikuyu constituency here, where we actually arrived very early in the morning to get what the ground is all about since the elections have arrived. The home stretch. We've been counting years, we've been counting months, we've been counting weeks, and now we are counting a day. Not even a day, we are counting hours, because the general election will be starting in about 24 or less hours. That is tomorrow morning, and I think by 5 a.m. Chebukati will be releasing, or will be taking it off to Kenyans to select their preferred candidates. And Linda Lela, just to mention to you, is that we're camping here in Kiambu County to make sure that our viewers are entertained and are following one-on-one on what's happening in both in all the constituencies, 12 constituencies in Kiambu County. And just to let you know is that this is the second county with the most registered voters, as it got 1.2 million registered voters from Nairobi County, where which got more than 1.2 million registered voters. And to mention to you is that this is the most looked at county, because the gubernatorial bid will be actually on a high level, since 7 candidates have shown interest to take Governor Nyoro's seat. Remember, Nyoro got into this seat after Governor Waititu was impeached by at most, or at least 28 senators in 2020 following gross misconduct of the office. And maybe just to let you know is that the 7 governors that are shown interest, or the 7 candidates that have shown interest in this county includes Kimani Wamatangi of United Democratic Alliance. Also, we got James Nyoro, who was the deputy governor, because then he was given the seat following the ouster of Governor Waititu. We also have William Kabogo, who was the first governor of this county, who got about 700,000 votes when he was elected in 2017 with Jubilee Party. We also have Moses Kuria of Chama cha Kazi, Patrick Wainaina of Independent, who is running as an independent candidate. We're also having Agnes Washuka Dongo and Mwende Katabaki will also be seeking for this seat. So we'll be catching up. We'll be traversing around across this county to make sure that our audience gets a glimpse of what's happening from Kikuyu to Lari to Kabete to Thika and to Gatondo, both south and north, just to make sure that our views are glued or are aware of what's happening across Kiambu County. And from now towards the end of the day, we'll also be bringing up to date on what's happening in different positions. As currently here we are in Township Primary School, where a total of about 676 voters will be casting their votes here. As you can see from my background here, this is the warehouse. There's a ballot boxes have been put here just to make sure that tomorrow morning all system will set go to make sure that voters that have will be arriving here at 5 a.m. will get there to attend or to vote or attend their democratic right, make sure that they chooses their preferred candidates. This county, Linda Lela, remember, it is the key because President Uhuru Kenyatta comes from this side. The former president also comes from this side. I'm talking about the late Mwai Kibaki. Remember, this county forms a very big GDP from Nairobi, about 420 billion as at 2020. So this is the county that will be most looked at in this general election. So by tomorrow evening, we'll be knowing who will be maybe leading, and we'll be bringing to our viewers one-on-one on what will be happening. So we're camping here from now, and by 10:30, we'll also be coming to you live to tell you on what's happening across the county. Back to you, Linda Lela. My name is Mike Kagwongo.
All right, and gentlemen, we are getting back. Asante sana, Mike Kagwongo, for that comprehensive report of what is happening in Kikuyu, Kiambu County. We take a short break, and in a bit, I get to loop in the gentleman still in studio with me, and therefore that should be after this.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Hi, my name is Nick Mavindi. I am a TV producer and a director here at TV 47. So, I would love to tell you this. Elections come and go, but your friend and a neighbor will always be there. So let's keep peace this period of elections. But remember, Kenya is bigger than all of us.
The new Kasarani Sportsview Hotel is a state-of-the-art hotel located along Isipa Road off the modern Thika Superhighway. Enjoy well-equipped comfortable halls and boardrooms accommodating up to 1,000 people. We have elegant, spacious and well-appointed rooms with several types to choose from to meet your needs. Feast on well-marinated nyama choma at the Nyama Choma Ranch and a variety of other a la carte and buffet options. Our health club consists of the gym, steam bath, sauna, aerobics and swimming. Kids' activities include a bouncing castle, train, swings, trampolines, among others. Bring to life the event of your dreams at our beautiful events gardens with a capacity of up to 3,000 people. For more information, call us on 0111024700. The new Kasarani Sportsview Hotel. Country tranquility in the city. TV47, the home of untold stories.
Oh, gentlemen, and we get back to business. Dr. David Nyekorach Matsanga, Chairperson PAN African Forum, is with us this morning. Dr. Justus Juma, the party leader of Justice and Freedom Party. Asante sana again for creating time and for staying with us this long, as well as Mheshimiwa Philip Kisia, governance and leadership as well as management expert, and lastly, Dr. Barrack Muluka, who's a communication advisor. Gentlemen, we get into this. We're on the last laps of it. We're just about to exit the stage, and that is around 11 a.m. But there's still so much that we can articulate on. I really tried my level best to steer away or steer clear from, you know, us looking into the campaign trails. Now that we have Justus Juma here, who has been a contender as well, I think it would be fair that we run away from that. But then again, the question of, the last days of campaign, whether the campaigns have been able to, you know, achieve anything for these gentlemen, and that aspect of peace that they speak of. One of them says that I am willing to go out there and handshake my opponent in the event that I lose or in the event that I get this presidency. The other one says it's fine, tutakunywa chai, but let it not go to levels of the actual handshake, which is against the constitution. And so, Justus Juma, when we look at all this, I mean, we want to look at one of them that thrives in the question of handshakes at the expense of those ones.
Linda,
it was
I
about
prosecuting my...
But you are taking a lot of time, Senior.
He will finish. Yeah. But Linda, if Jesus was alive, like he told his disciples regarding the Pharisees, sometimes you do what they say, but don't do what they do. We are in a country where people perfect PR, but when it comes to action, and that's why your question on the legacy of Uhuru Kenyatta.
And I'd love for you to articulate on that, and especially in the event that you were taking this government. Right. Do you suppose you could have taken a government that you would be happy to take?
It's a golden moment where Kenya needs to take his place in the global community. I raise and train my children to be second to none, because the foundation, historically, spiritually, I tell them that they are fearfully and wonderfully made, and they are unique, great and significant, such that there's no any other equal to them in the entire world. And the world needs them at this time, that they can't afford to cheat the world of who they are. And that is the truth that Linda is as good as any other, Linda, I've told you this, any other journalist, even CNN, is based on how you carry out yourself. And I've seen guys shine even in the global arena based on how they inspire themselves and how they work hard. And Kenya is well endowed with all the instruments to be second to none, except their leadership capacity to help Kenya get there. Uhuru had 10 golden years by tomorrow, where is now going to be functioning in temporary incumbency powers. He is no longer powerful or president as per the constitution. Right now, his powers are limited to incumbency, which the constitution also has provided for. So from tomorrow, he can't even fire his own cabinet, my brother. From tomorrow, he can't nominate or appoint any judicial officer. There are a number of incumbency power, provisions and the do's and don'ts. And yes, he is standing out to have pursued unity, more so with his opponent. I think we had issues of the tribal clashes. So he's tried to harmonize specific tribe and the other. Maybe you can give it to him when he harmonizes his tribe and Ruto's tribe, and they became one, or now Raila's tribe. But of course, what has been lacking in that unity is the unity of purpose for the nation, and more so the vision for this country. One thing I'm happy about is that Kenya has a Vision 2030 Commission and also a Transition Commission. The other day I was seated with the Vision 2030 Commission, and they amazed me when they said that any incoming president normally operates within the parameters of Vision 2030 and the Transition Commission's policy or agenda. They only bring 20%. And that really gave me comfort, because transition matters. And where we're coming from and where we're going needs to be very clear, such that when I'm talking about health, I'm dreaming of a day where we will not just be talking about the healthcare, but we'll be talking about food care. Because if I'm eating in a good environment, nutritious food, then I don't need a doctor. But the moment I'm still talking about a doctor who is in business, definitely that society will still be manipulated. Diseases can always be created. And we've seen with opportunities of corona and all these other things. And those are the things that keep citizens captive from being actually free. I was looking at an education system which is capable of teaching Kenyans how to live their life, not just earn a living. Because in earning a living, being an engineer, being a doctor, being an accountant, as we stand today, even robots are doing that perfectly well. Actually, robotics have taken over the promises that our jobs are promising. And it requires a leadership which has a vision to place their citizens or place themselves in a competitive environment where you are not reacting to just ideas, technology.
And just as I am happy that you bring on board the question of education again.
Right.
You mentioned it earlier on. Barrack as well alluded to the importance of how we make sure that we get substance in terms of education. I have also been following, on your submissions, not just on this space, and I realize that you are a huge subscriber to the homeschooling concept.
Alternative.
How so?
Right.
And in terms of making sure that as a nation, then we position ourselves.
You see, education is a way through which the adults of the society induce the young ones to the society. And that brings us back to redefine that society. Because this geographical location is not the Western geographical location. And the opportunities and interests here are very diverse and different. And how we bring our young ones to first know who they are, why they are.
In this competitive world where we're also supposed to position them.
Exactly. Once you know who you are, why you are, and what, it becomes very easy for you to compete in the face of humanity. But as it stands, we have an education system which only teaches you not who you are, not why you are, maybe what they want you to be. And these are the challenges where, still as we talk right now, we have social fibers which are dysfunctional. You go to marriages and identity and functionality of individuals is lacking and wanting. We talk about ethos, which was a very good subject. And during this moment when Uhuru was pushing BBI or constitutional change, if it was not hijacked by concealment of these executive requirements, which they concealed behind good ideas, we needed to redefine ethos, which should actually appear clearly within our education curriculum, such that you are educated with ethics, a moral stock is restored within
What are you
society.
telling us, Doctor? You have been in court petitioning against the BBI.
Very true. And actually, I was one of the petitioners who petitioned the boundary delimitation, which actually was BBI was a very good concept, but had specific executive concealment, which actually were overriding and abusing the entire process. So whether a good thing is a bad thing is hidden behind a good thing, and that bad thing can destroy the whole of the good thing we're talking about. And that is why we stood and said, you know what, wait a minute. And the Constitution and the court vindicated us, because we were at this moment like where we are now, where IEBC has brought us the candidates. Actually, is another moment where no one can stop. They are talking like no one can stop reggae. And we were few conscious individuals who said, you know, looking at this document, and for posterity, this document is very dangerous. And whatever it is going to endorse may take this country in a path that will not be reversible. So Uhuru had certain good ideas, which some of them were taken over by these concealments that we're talking about. And yes, I desire to see an education system with value systems, with proper character formation, which enhance innovation and creativity, Linda.
Yeah, okay.
And when we talk about innovation and creativity,
As you sum it up.
that is the backbone of industrialization, which as we talk today, Uhuru's economic policy has been inverted. It's much more pro-science and technology, about 80%, whereas majority of our populace who are agrarian pastoralists, about 75% of us who are agrarian pastoralists are not even town dwellers. It's only 25% of town dwellers who consume most the science and technology. So he focused more of his economic policies with the 25%. And that is why the 75% can't produce food. There's no food security. As we talk today, when Russia fighting in Ukraine, why should it affect our kitchen garden? Why should it affect what we eat? Why should it affect our economic policies? Because our economic policy was inverted. So if we wanted to actually define our geographical location correctly,
and operate in
our education system, which now should inform our economic policy, our health policy, our various other infrastructure, should be in tandem with the need of the people. And that is why people-centered policy matters in this day and age if Kenya was to be competitive globally.
Okay. Dr. Matsanga should be coming in, but I'll give you 1 minute,
Okay,
max,
1 minute
to address this.
I think I had not concluded the issue of Uhuru's legacy, but I think the biggest question must be asking yourself, has he contributed towards our vision of being a middle-income country, industrialized, you know, with a high quality of life for all Kenyans by 2030? That's the first question. Has he contributed? The second thing that I'll be looking at is that what contract, what social contract did we sign with Uhuru? Because he made some pledges. These are my pledges. So you cannot mark the exam out of the contract that he had signed with the people, because he made a pledge. So if now I look at
the promises vis-a-vis what he's achieved,
what the promises that he made, I think he has done extremely well, particularly in the second term. Finally, well, I was talking about some of the milestones that Uhuru has registered. When he took over, power connectivity, or electricity connectivity, was below 3 million. Now we're above 7 million. Kenyans connected to power. The first generation, we stood at 1,300, now we are 3,000 plus. But we're still having a shortfall. So has Uhuru done well? Based on his contribution to Vision 2030 and what he had signed with us, I think I would rate him very good.
All right, and gentlemen, I'm told your coffee is ready, and therefore we only have about 15 minutes, so I can release you, so you don't say you came to TV47 Morning Cafe. 15 minutes to disappear from this space.
When I've not talked.
Dr. Matsanga, all right, what Kenyans are interested in right now is whether they're going to experience that peaceful transition, you know? That's what we're looking forward to. First, do you suppose the campaigns have served the purpose? Do you suppose what the gentlemen speak of, you know, that if I lose, I am going to write, you know, speech to concede defeat. If I lose, I am going to say, or if I win, then of course I'll have that winning, you know, speech as well as, you know, a mechanism to make sure that I incorporate, you know, the other parties to make sure that we are having a peaceful coexistence as a nation. Based on the submissions of the 4 gentlemen that we have seen alongside their running mates, do you suppose we have a country post 9th of August?
We shall have a country because there is a head of state, commander-in-chief, who has got what we call executive orders that can be utilized at any time. Although the level of presidency now after elections becomes
on borrowed time, yeah.
Yes, it's just to hold until a new person comes. That is one. You talk of the legacy of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta. It's fantastic. If you ask these 2 gentlemen here, apart from Kisia, Dr. Barrack Muluka and Dr. Juma, as soon as they finish this studio, they are going to use the expressway to Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. I know Dr. Juma very well. He votes in Kisumu. Am I wrong?
Is it?
Yes.
He will tell us.
I am asking.
Okay.
Because
is it true or not?
It's true.
Are you traveling? I mean, there's an advisory.
I don't know.
For those ones who are going to Kisumu.
But I know Mr.
Let me not into his time.
Okay.
Dr. Barrack Emmanuel Muluka
will be voted.
He's going to use express highway. 10 minutes. You know his bag is outside there, ready to go. Where is he going? To the airport. Now he calls that something wrong. Is he normal himself?
He's not appreciating.
He must have come from planet Venus.
Not to appreciate.
Yes,
that.
not to appreciate.
Priorities, though, Dr. Matsanga.
Okay, priority. Let's look at priority. In Vihiga, in Emmanuel.
And accountability as well.
Yes, in Vihiga, I'm coming. In Vihiga, Emmanuel, there is a great roaring everywhere in this country. If there is anywhere in this country where a road is not being constructed, where a dispensary has not been modified, the governor has eaten the money. And not Uhuru has eaten the money. The money has been pumped into the governors.
Accountability.
Accountability comes with the lower developed units. We have not held our governors to accountability.
But then again, we gave this nation to President Uhuru Kenyatta, Dr. Matsanga. And therefore, if we're talking about his legacy, if these governors have failed, then don't you think he has failed?
He has no powers to sack the governor.
Okay.
Uhuru Kenyatta has no powers to shoot thieves.
And therefore, can we confidently say that his reign has not been as expected?
Now, when they were talking, you did not
proceed. I'm just proceed.
You do not interrogate them. But if you
it's only fair that we question.
If you want to interrogate me, I will tell you frankly. Let's interrogate each other on this. Uhuru Kenyatta, the Constitution, which is a structural challenge for this country, stops him from shooting people who are on the ballot, but they have 200 million shillings unaccounted for. He allows it for the Constitution to do so. And he has allowed it. The law has put a deputy running mate on a ballot with 200 million shillings, where a lower court has found him guilty. He has appealed, but he's still guilty.
And therefore you say President Uhuru Kenyatta was in order to ask what do we need him to do?
So what I'm trying to say to Kenyans on this last minute,
as you sum it up, yes.
I'm telling you, Barrack, my man, Baraka, the man who knows what I say all the time.
people of Kenya.
And who corrects me. Don't cry for me. Cry for the children of Jerusalem.
Okay.
Barrack, tell the people to change the structural challenges of the Constitution. The Constitution of the Republic of Kenya gives the thieves a leeway to steal. Can you tell me the thieves of Thika who stole the money from Thika KCB Bank? If you find them right now, they can even steal our cars. We are inside here. They are here because of a structural challenge. You arrest a thief in Kenya on Friday. The DCI does its work, which is normal in the Commonwealth Statute, takes him on Monday. On Tuesday, he gets bail, using the same money by giving relatives to come and stand him bail. On Thursday, he's in Mauritius. Do you know that all the people who signed for bail application in Kenya, go to the police now. Go to the police and find out whether Itumbi was told to be signing every weekend.
Dr. Matsanga, you appreciate...
Some of them have signed for 2 years. They will not appear. The probation offices have collapsed.
And therefore, are you telling us that President Uhuru Kenyatta has indirectly
done.
Has he? When you articulate all this problem.
Kenyatta has done.
Okay.
First, Kenyatta, no human being, even Herod. Remember, Jesus told Herod. You remember? Jesus is a spiritual being.
Okay.
When Herod annoyed him, he said, my friend, you, watch out.
For those ones who read the Bible.
Yes,
okay.
Like me, who has read the Bible for 55 years.
We have 10 minutes. Baptized, we have 9 minutes actually.
Since I was baptized, you gave them a lot of time. Since I was baptized and confirmed, then I started reading the Bible nicely. I have my Bible, which I've left in the car.
We need to sum up, Doctor.
In the reality, Kenyatta has tried. He has organized the state to remain constitutional. Kenya will never hijack a government in the middle like other states in East Africa.
Okay.
No,
Dr. Matsanga.
State in East Africa. We have a president who has been there for 37 years.
And he's not about to.
And until God calls him, some of us have said, let God help us.
Okay, I mean, that's the reason why people ask you, why do you fight so hard for this country? And you overlook what is happening.
Emmanuel knows I did my best.
Okay, hold it. Dr. Matsanga, fair enough. Dr. Matsanga, thank you. No. We have to allow the other gentlemen to speak. All right, we'll come back to you for your parting shot.
I've given it to the younger people, Bessie and Bob Wine.
Dr. Barrack, your parting shot.
You can see we have been very patient listening to that harangue and tirade.
See, that is the bad thing you do. I will praise you, you praise him.
And even now he is not satisfied. Speaking in expletives. Yeah?
Okay.
Your parting shot, you have about a minute and a half.
No, I can't have a minute and a half. The man is given 10 minutes.
It looks like the gentlemen do not want to step out of the set. Perhaps
no, why should we?
And
we were told to leave here at 11. We are told to leave at 11. It's not yet 11, is it?
You know, I'm used to disciplined environments where gentlemen float ideas and they wrap their minds around those ideas, not shoutants who are just screaming.
I will assume those ones are your parting shots?
No, you can't assume. You must also listen. You've given that man acres of time. And so the three of us are also entitled.
I'll allow you to compose your thoughts and first allow Dr.
No. It is my turn. If you want me to ventilate the same way Matsanga has been doing so that I'm given time, then I'm going to start shouting.
30 seconds. The clock is ticking.
So I'm going to go the same direction. The issue is this, that we are going to have elections tomorrow. We have traveled a fairly rocky path, and we can sit here and fulminate and pontificate and do all that. But Kenyans are out there thinking about the destiny of their country, the destiny of their children. And one person holds the key to that destiny. That person is His Excellency President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. He should reduce his anger. He has been getting wrong advice from people like Matsanga here, who have failed to advise people in their own countries, and they have advised him. They have advised him.
I'm an expert.
They have
advised even the.
Dr. Matsanga, your time.
Yes,
is
he's an expert in giving wrong advice.
Okay.
Yeah. So President Uhuru Kenyatta, the most critical thing is to ensure that these elections are free and fair, and that state instruments, agents, and other entities are not used to derail the will of the people. And contrary to what he has been saying, that, oh, I will not hand over to whoever, if he doesn't hand over, the Constitution itself will take effect anyway, and he will be addressed in the post taking over dispensation. There are people who have attempted such things like Yahya Jammeh. We have even seen recently in the United States, they tried the American standard, and I do hope that Mr. Matsanga, Dr. Matsanga, understands the notion of the American standard. And it did not...
I'm not an American.
Yeah, but find out, do a Google search
You're a student of history.
on the American standard, find out what that is.
Management.
So, seriously speaking, we should have a peaceful election. The citizens themselves should remain peaceful. The government should behave in a peaceful manner. We have heard of things like, oh, elections may be disrupted in some places. Please don't allow yourself to be used to disrupt the election. This is a democratic process. When we talk about praying, sometimes God wonders why we are praying as if they are extraterrestrial creatures descending upon us, because God has given us the wisdom, the knowledge, and the composure to have a peaceful election. And may the better or the best person out of the four win. We have talked about this election as if it was only the presidential election. Let the best candidate in any one of the 6 seats win, and let's have a peaceful country after tomorrow.
We started local for purposes of being safe.
My closing remarks, I guess. Okay. Now, first of all, thank you for having us here.
It's a pleasure.
But, you know, we can't keep on talking about the negatives all the time. Yes. I think I forgot to open my remarks by congratulating Barrack. Come on, you had your time. By congratulating our team that had superb performance in the Commonwealth. We are number 3 in Africa, and I think number 12 in the Commonwealth. That is something to celebrate about. So my sister, Ambassador Dr. Amina Mohammed, congratulations, and a job well done. I think it just proves that if you are given a small, an office, no matter how small it may be perceived, you can leave an impact. The other thing is that, let me also join my brother Barrack in asking Kenyans to come out in large numbers and vote. That is a democratic right. But we'll have a country after tomorrow. Let us be peaceful. Whoever wins, wins. We all have our preferred candidates. I don't want to get into detail, but I leave it to you. You have a few hours to decide. If you're not decided, please decide by this evening so that tomorrow you make the right decision, knowing very well a wrong decision will impact on you negatively for 5 years. Finally, let me wish my good friend Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta best of luck, best wishes as he retires. Not completely, because he still has a role to play, not only in Kenya, but in Africa. And he's welcome for a cup of tea in my house. Please, after leaving State House, I'll be waiting for you.
Okay. And before we let go, it's very important that we appreciate. Yes.
And I hope you also invite.
Oh yes, you invite us.
This is the deep state.
Because he has called.
You can invite the president.
Now we know it. Yes.
We've been looking for the face of the deep state.
It's here.
Finally.
So you see, you are even pointing fingers to
Dr. Matsanga.
The context of this panel today is within the electoral period that we are facing, and I know the rising political temperatures clearly indicating the ideologies that are prevailing, and some to me are very chaotic. And though roses have thorns, still we like them. So we will still be forced to choose even the roses and the thorns together. But I think great care is needed to guarantee peace, because Kenya is more fragile than never before. If you look at the time we're in, we've had very serious economic hard time. We've had the impact of COVID-19. And it's very easy to manipulate these vulnerabilities for purposes of especially the rogue politicians. So I think great care, great concerns needs to be taken care of, especially Kenyan citizens, against the rogue politicians who can manipulate these vulnerabilities for their political scores. And I think that is a responsibility of all of us. Leadership is a process, and some of us, we've chosen proper mechanisms to ventilate the issues that are affecting us. He says we have petitions. Yes, we have petitions. Mm-hmm. We are watching even social media fake news and manipulation. We are watching even the media houses, because they are ethical, the journalistic codes, which they won't escape. And we are watching politicians, because there are moments when people do forget that this is a country led by laws or the constitution. Yes, to that effect, we are not just passive citizens, we are active citizens, and every person will be brought to account, including IEBC. I know already High Court have made pronouncements regarding the nomination process, and IEBC stated that they are going to implement that not retrospective, but in the future, and we are wondering what future. So there are a number of areas which we are certain as Kenyan citizens, and that is our spirit. And I thank you, Kisia, for reminding us about the Kenyan valiant spirit, which is can be seen nationally. We are not sleeping. We are watching every step of this electoral process, and everyone will come to account, and we'll make sure that we have a country that we can bequeath to our next generation.
And Linda, finally, I want to take this opportunity to give a vote of thanks to the television 47.
Thank you.
For having hosted us at times in a hostile environment. And I want to tell you that I and Dr. Muluka
are going to pull
a no, there is no handshake. Dr. Muluka is a young man. When I start speaking outside there, he keeps quiet until I finish. Okay. So I want to thank you, all of you, the management. I want to thank the chairman, Professor Chikeru, my good friend, whom we have suffered with so many other places. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, the management. Thank you very much, the editorial. Thank you very much. And mine is, as soon as the vote is cast and the election, the results are out, we move on with His Excellency President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta to the African Union, Commonwealth.
You'll be moving around. I
want to change Africa.
Thank you.
And for me, give me one prayer that one day, and one day only.
You'll be the president of East Africa?
No, I don't know. One day, if there was a chance, I would change Africa by first educating people what an election and a democracy is.
Asante.
Thank you very much.
Asante sana. Once again, I also join you, Senior, in appreciating the likes of Mora, Manyalas of today, for raising the flag high. We appreciate their contribution in society, and above everything, we are grateful that we had you gentlemen on set. Thank you so much for heeding to that call. And yes, on behalf of the management as well as the team that has made this broadcast a success, tunasema asante sana. We are out of this space, not in totality. I'll be here up until 11. I'll be looking in the ladies and gentlemen that are representing us at the level of the counties for more updates on what is happening on these specific grounds. Once again, we have had Dr. David Nyokorach Matsanga, the last speaker and the person who's been accorded that duty by the gentleman to give the vote of thanks. Chair PAN African Forum Limited, thank you so much for speaking to us. Dr. Justus Juma, the party leader of Justice and Freedom Party, Asante Sana, for speaking to us. Governance, leadership and management expert. Thank you so much, Senior Philip Kisia, for speaking to us. And lastly, Dr. Barrack Muluka, Communication Advisor. We'll close it at that. And once again, I said not in totality in a bit. I'll be back.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Oh, that was a beautiful one.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Hello, my name is David Kimathi, a sound technician and a director here at TV 47. I also like to remind you that election is once in every 5 years. Remember to love your neighbor, remember to love your friend during this election, pre-election and post-election time. Kura Bilangori. Kenya is bigger than all of us.
At Streisand School of Medical Health Science and Technology, we prepare the change makers of tomorrow by training them in theater technology, medical engineering, science laboratory and health records, applied biology, environmental health science, nutrition and dietetics, ICT, counseling psychology, and many more. Enroll with us today and take a certificate or diploma course. Visit our campuses in Juja, Nairobi West, Kisumu, and Homa Bay and get your career going.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
And the special edition of Kenya Decides, and we now cross over to Kakamega County. Violet Omar on standby for more as to what is happening as the country gears up for that special day tomorrow, the 9th of August. We go for an election. Violet Omar, if you can hear me, kindly tell us what is happening in Kakamega County.
Yeah, thank you so much, Linda Alela. I am in Kakamega County at Hill School Primary School, where it is a total a tallying center of Lurambi sub-county. It has a total of 89,672 voters here in Lurambi sub-county, which has 6 wards, and it is an area with 198 polling stations. Among them is 2 polling stations which are prisons here in Kakamega County, and of course we have a number of aspirants or other candidates who are vying on a parliamentary seat and also the MCA among the 6 the 6 wards here in Lurambi sub-county. Here in Lurambi we also have 2 according to the commissioner here in Kakamega County. He has told us that they will deploy 2 police officers at each tallying or rather polling station and 20 police officers at every tallying center. And of course we have 12 tallying centers here, which is 12 sub-counties in Kakamega County, and we have our overall or rather county tallying center which will be at Kakamega High School. In Kakamega County, or rather here in Lurambi sub-county, we have also been told that we have 2 voter educators, and they were deployed in every Lurambi sub-county, we've had 2 voter educators, and also we've been told by IEBC officer that we have 6 standby KEMS kits that will come in handy, especially if some of them fail. But as I said, we have a total of 89,627 voters here in Lurambi sub-county. The incumbent MP is the Lurambi MP Bishop Titus Hamala, and of course we have a number of them who are also planning to unseat him if at all locals or other members of Lurambi sub-county will be able to vote them in. I'm joined by a returning officer Lurambi sub-county, and maybe we'll just have to shed some light what is happening as at now and what do we expect. What have they received? What have they not received? Bwana Salim Abdallah Salim, please kindly tell us what is happening as at now, because I'm saying ballot papers are already in. Do we have all the materials that you expect?
Thank you so much. My name is Salim Abdallah Salim, returning officer Lurambi.
Okay.
Right now, we have everything in place. We are just waiting for the agents and the candidates to come and witness the ballot opening, which will take place at noon in our warehouse here. Then after that one, we shall be waiting for our deputy and presiding officers, who will in turn come for their strategic and both strategic and non-strategic materials and move to the polling stations. So far, everything is ready. We are just waiting for time.
Okay, well, I've been told that we also have some standby KEMS kits, is it? Like
We
in every ward?
have some standby KEMS kits with us, and we are not expecting any of them to fail. Because even the last time, none failed. So we also expect this time none will fail, and at least we have a backup.
Yeah, the last time we talked to the county returning officer, he told us that they have not received the presidential ballot papers in boxes. I don't know if they are in as of now.
As we are talking right now, my presidential ballot papers are intact. I'm just waiting for noon to go and open the ballots.
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much. So that is a returning officer here in Lurambi sub-county. And as you've seen, as my camera person, Weekly Fodera has just shown you, we have ballot boxes already here. We have officers here already putting everything in place just to ensure that the process is smooth. And as a returning officer here in Lurambi sub-county has just told us, they are already set. They have all the materials, and they are expecting that tomorrow the day will be smooth and everything will be in place, and that is exactly what we've also been told by the county returning officer here in Lurambi, in Kakamega County, Joseph Ayata, told us that every sub-county have received everything that they need and everything that they're hoping that whatever the exercise will be smooth, and as of tomorrow, locals will be lining up just to make sure they exercise their constitutional mandate of voting in their leaders. In Kakamega County, as I said earlier, we have a total of 844,709 registered voters who are planned to participate in tomorrow's exercise of voting. And also in Kakamega County, we have 12 sub-counties, and among them is Lurambi, where I am right now. That is Lurambi, Mumias East, Mumias West, Matungu, Huisero, Butere, and Likuyani, Malava, Shinyalu, Ikolomani, and Likuyane. Those are 12 sub-counties of Kakamega County, and we are expecting that any time everything will be set, and just a few hours from now, tomorrow, locals will be lining up to exercise their constitutional right. And of course, we were also able to talk to Mr. Ondego, who is the county commissioner, earlier on, and he said that they're not going to leave anything to chance. They are going to ensure that everything in terms of police is set, and they said they're going to deploy 2 police officers per polling station and 20 at the tallying center, just to ensure that security matters are in check. And also the other areas that we've also been told that there were possible violence areas of Malava, Shinyalu, Huisero, and Matungu. They said they're going to deploy more police officers just to ensure the process goes on as smooth as had planned earlier. I take it back to you, Linda Alela, and of course we'll also be telling our viewers at TV47 what is happening in Kakamega and other parts of our western region.
All right, thank you so much, Violet Auma, for the updates all the way from Kakamega County. We're just getting into it, and I know that we'll get more updates later on as we, get into this moment of the D-Day, and that is slated for tomorrow. And therefore, without further ado, I think it's fair that we cross over to a different county, Trans Nzoia, that is Kitale. On standby is Boniface Baraza for updates or for more in regards to what is taking center stage on this part of the country. Boniface Baraza, good morning.
Good morning to Linda Lela, and we're coming to you live from the county headquarters at the provincial county headquarters at the county commissioner's office. And basically today we are keeping an eye on security apparatus preparedness in terms of tomorrow's D-Day, which is the general election. As the clock ticks before Kenyans line up or flock the various polling stations of this county, and earlier on we spoke to the county election manager who is in charge of this county, and he alluded to us they have approximately 761 polling stations that Kenyans are supposed to turn up to exercise their democratic right tomorrow early morning. And first thing first, we're joined by the Trans Nzoia County Commissioner Sam Ojuang, just to bring us to speed. How is the county prepared in terms of security? Thank you, sir, for joining us, and we're live on TV47. From where you sit, how are we prepared in terms of security?
Thank you, my brother Boniface, for that very important concern. From where I sit with the county security team, members of whom are here, we are fully prepared for the elections tomorrow. We put in place the necessary security measures in all the 761 polling stations and in the 5 counties. Our officers are already deployed. They are closely operating with the IEBC team, and by this evening we will be set. And with regard to our borders, even with Uganda, we've also put in place the necessary measures. So one thing I want to assure our people, that Trans Nzoia is peaceful. We put the necessary measures to ensure that tomorrow when they wake up, they'll peacefully go and vote. So all is well.
How many police officers have you guys set up will be manning this election come tomorrow?
For each and every polling station, we've deployed 2 police officers. Then that gives you a figure of 1522. Yes, but outside that figure is the other team that is out as a rapid deployment team that is operating within the county.
I've been having this youth group who've been regrouping to cause mayhem during the campaign period. As much as the campaign period came to a close the other day, the biggest elephant in the room is tomorrow's election. What is your message to those people and probably those who intend to cause chaos during tomorrow's general election?
Our message, and strongly so, to those who may be hell-bent on trying to engage in mischief through breaking the law, whoever they are, is that we will deal firmly and ruthlessly with them. So that is an area that they should not dare. If they are youths, we are advising them, don't dare that route, because we will deal with them just like we deal with terrorists. And there will be no mercy when it comes to anybody trying to cause problem during this very, very, very important process in this country. We want to make a very serious appeal to those who are candidates, that they should also not dare try to engage in this kind of mischief by sponsoring gangs to disrupt this electoral process. Last but not least is to appeal to the parents of our youths, that please talk to your boys and dissuade them from engaging in anything that can lead them into a lot of problems. For the youth, don't allow yourselves to be misused by anybody, because it is only you who will face the music, because our police officers, led by the County Police Commander, Jacinta Wasonga, are fully alert, and they are everywhere across the width and the breadth of this county, both in uniform and in civilian, to deal with anybody who may try to engage in an element of disruption with regard to this electoral process.
As we wrap up, Kenyans have tendency from the previous election, after voting, they hang around the polling stations.
in what they believe is guarding their vote. What do you have to say about that?
The IEBC has made itself very clear, and it's provided for in law, that for Kenyans, you go and vote peacefully and then go home peacefully. There is no room for anybody to hang around the polling stations or the tallying centers. Those who are contesting, or the candidates, have their agents. We have observers from Commonwealth, East African Community, and all those other players who are observing these elections. So there is no reason for any Kenyan to hang around the tallying center. You'll be breaking the law, and our security officers will ask you, one, politely to go home. But then, if you do not respond or are there to that, then they'll forcefully remove you. So we are advising Kenyans, please don't hang around the tallying centers. The agents are there, observers are there, and the whole world is there watching. So there's no reason. Go back, you go to your home, drink tea, drink uji as you wait for the results, the announcement of results with effect from tomorrow evening.
A loading of observers, as I was checking in, I saw you having a meeting with some Commonwealth representative. Can you confirm, probably, are they the Commonwealth observers, and how many observers probably will be overseeing this election in the county?
Yeah, we received 3 Commonwealth observers who are engaged in that process of observing our elections in Trans Nzoia County and also in West Pokot. We also did receive observers from European Union. And the other day I saw His Excellency, the former President of Tanzania, who is leading the East African Community team. They are yet to arrive here. But we are aware that even the East African Community has deployed observers. And we are sure either today or so, they will be here. Yes.
Thank you. That is Trans Nzoia County Commissioner Samuel Joang has alluded, has put it clear in terms of security preparedness. How far is the county prepared in terms of security ahead of tomorrow's general election? He has also mentioned of the Commonwealth observers who have already arrived. I've had a sit-down or a meeting with him, a consultation meeting ahead of tomorrow's election. Therefore, all is set. We wait to see what happens tomorrow, but we continue to pitch tent and crisscross various sub-counties in this county. Remember, Trans Nzoia has approximately, that is 5 sub-counties of 5 elective units, that is 5 constituencies. And we also have 25 wards. We'll be the 25 wards, all the happening in 25 wards and 5 constituency, and also the county. Remember, the county has 398 registered voters, 981 who are supposed to turn up tomorrow, queue in their respective various polling stations to exercise their democratic right. We'll keep an eye and wait to see what will happen. Over to you, Linda Lela.
Well, thank you so much, Boniface Baraza. Na ndio mwanzo tu tunaanza. I'm sure we're going to get into the in-depth of this matter of the election, and I am delighted to remind you that right here at TV47 will make sure to cover all these events and to keep you up to tabs. Remember, you are called upon to maintain peace. Tomorrow, you wake up as early as possible, queue, vote your preferred leaders, go back home. Let's all wait to see what will be the declarations at this very moment, where we want to have a shift on the aspect of leadership. And I have been with you since 6 a.m. and up until this very moment, once again, to appreciate the gentlemen that I had on set, to appreciate you for the numerous feedback that we have received, and as well to say asante sana as we look forward to more, and ask you to make sure that you keep it the home of Untold Story. That special edition of Kenya Decides will be doing this up until tomorrow, until the moments of tallying, until the moments of the announcement. On a standby at this very moment are my able colleagues who are set to take up the mantle from me and take us through what is expected. Beatrice Watare as well as Paul Kirobi on standby on the other side of the studio as we get into this conversation. And so I say asante sana. I think there's so much to speak about, but I'll leave it for them to unpack some more. Wenzangu, nafikiri ni wakati wangu wa kukunja jamvi, na kwa sababu nyie ni watu wa Kiswahili inanibidi na pia niwazungumzie kwa lugha ya Kiswahili. Natumai muko tayari, muko ngangari ya kwamba tupo site. Kirobi.
Bila shaka tupo site, ndio lugha ambayo inatumika pale kwenye mitaa. Na bila shaka ukitazama kwamba kwa sasa Wakenya wanaelekea katika uchaguzi mkuu, na ni uchaguzi muhimu sana ukizingatia kwamba kumekuwa na siasa za uchumi ama kampeni za uchumi ambayo wanasiasa wamekuwa wakiendesha katika kaunti tofauti tofauti. Bila shaka Linda Lela, kuanzia siku ya leo tutakuwa tunazidi kupiringisha gurudumu. Tujue ni kipi ambacho kitakuwa kinajiri katika kaunti tofauti tofauti pamoja na mwenzangu Beatrice Wetare.
Na niwapongeze, sikipie kwanza Beatrice, niwapongeze kwa sababu nimekuwa nikiwafuatilia na ni kweli kwamba mmekuwa mkifanya kazi nzuri. Na kufikia sasa nafikiri tumefika katika ile hali ya climax. Sijui kwa Kiswahili climax wanasema ni kilele, sio? Kwa hiyo sisi letu ni jicho, na ninapokurushia jambo hili basi nategemea kwamba Wakenya watapata zaidi ya vile wanavyotarajia wakati huu wanapokuwa wanafuatilia sana masuala ya siasa. Kwa hiyo kwako Beatrice Wetare.
Na bila shaka, na kama ulivyosema, tuko tayari, tuko ange kwa gange hii, maana ni muda ambao tumekuwa tukisubiria, tumekuwa tukingojea. Tunasema uchaguzi utafika lini? Haya, umefika. Tumeandaa, imefika muda kuweza kukupakulia. Mpenzi mtazamaji, bila shaka wanahabari wetu wamekita kami katika kaunti tofauti tofauti. Hivyo basi tutaweza kujumuika nao tuweze kujua ni kipi kinachoendelea, na je, ni maandalizi yapi ambayo yanazidi kuendelea wakati huu ambapo tunaelekea kwenye uchaguzi mkuu wa Agosti 9 hapo kesho.
Alright, na tunapopakua nafikiri tuwakumbusheni kwamba ni muhimu wajitokeze kwenda kupiga kura, na zaidi ya yote tuzidi kuendeza gurudumu la amani, sio?
Bila shaka ni jambo la muhimu.
Thank you so much. I leave you at this very note, the able hands of the two, that is Paul Kirobi as well as Beatrice Wetare. It was nice having you. We still are here, taking shape all the way to tomorrow again. I'll get to see you. Asante sana. My name is Linda Lela. Do have yourself a lovely day ahead.
TV47, the home of untold stories. Want to know the meaning of a soft life? It's living with ease and accessing quality lifestyle while taking a swim. It's taking care of your body in a 5-star gym while you achieve your fitness goals. It's living in a serene and quiet neighborhood. It's about staying in a place with spacious driveways and ample parking. It's about living in a safe and secure environment. It's about convenient shopping. Soft life is living comfortable in affordable and yet an elegant space. It's everything stylish. Here's to introducing Great Rift Apartments, located at the heart of Nakuru City in Kisulisuli Estate, just a few minutes from the Central Business District. Great Rift Apartments, the hub of soft living. You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
My name is Michael Wanyonyi. I'm the CEO and founder for Mipower Solar. I'm an engineer by profession, and that gave me passion to start a solar and an energy company. In 2010, we started Mi Power. Most of the companies were focusing on big solars. So we started with just to focus on small solars where low-income people could afford. So that's why how we started into doing home lighting system. Immediate benefit of home lighting solar system is